Indianapolis Colts snapped an 8-game losing streak dating back to last season on Sunday.
We won the game. We scored 31. We held them to 20, right? And we won the turnover battle, right?
Head coach Shane Steichen in the locker room after the Colts' 31-20 win over Houston. Gardner Minshew had to come in relief of Anthony Richardson, who was sidelined in the first quarter with a concussion. The Colts are on the road next week as well against Baltimore. The search is on for a former Colts player. Sergio Brown hasn't been seen the last few days. His mother was found murdered near her Chicago home over the weekend. Brown played for the Colts from 2012 to 2014, and he played his college ball at Notre Dame. It sounded like a gunshot in Muncie. Sam Fritz reports.
Police are investigating what they suspect to be a possible accidental gunshot fired inside of a dorm room on Ball State's campus. Students received an email Saturday evening saying that University Police responded to a report of a discharge inside of a residence hall room in the Studebaker West housing complex. The shot was fired during Ball State's family weekend event. The investigation is still ongoing. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Meanwhile, 2 teenagers were shot in a separate shooting in Muncie early Sunday morning. One of them was a 19-year-old man, the other a 16-year-old girl. Both of their injuries were non-life-threatening, say police. An Israeli pharmaceutical company wants to build a new facility in Westfield. Isotopia Molecular Imaging is planning to spend $20 million to build its U.S. headquarters in Hamilton County. With that, the plan is to hire 50 Hoosiers for high-wage jobs. And if you're looking for a job, the U.S. Postal Service is hiring holiday workers.
We certainly have delivery positions. If that isn't their cup of tea, we have positions that are in our processing facilities and also in our delivery units getting the mail and packages ready.
Spokesperson Susan Wright on Wish TV, she says that they want to hire up to 700 people statewide. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
Good morning, Kurt Darling. 28-minute delay right now running in Lawrence. It's northbound 465. It starts before Penn Pike up to Allisonville Road. It's an awful construction zone running until early September 25th. We hope it's going to be done then, weather permitting. Also a crash in Noblesville, 146th Street of Cumberland Road. Noblesville Fire Department saying that it is in the intersection involving a motorcycle. Appreciate that information. Traffic sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
Wow, Total Wine really does have everything. I found your favorite bourbon, an awesome vodka. Oh, and Ruthie.
Ruthie?
That's me. Always happy to help.
Honey, Ruthie found that amazing Cabernet you loved.
Oh, yeah. That Cabernet was really good.
And we have it for the lowest price in town.
We've got to get another bottle. So glad we found Ruthie.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Sunny skies, mild temperatures, beautiful afternoon in store. Today's high 74. We're mainly clear, a little cooler overnight. Watch out for some patchy fog, a low of 51. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Radar is clear, sunny and 57 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour is powered by Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 18th. It is 7 minutes Minutes after 9, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Thank you for joining us this morning. That's Rob Kendall. You can find him on Twitter, Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey. You can find me on Twitter, Casey Daniels 317, and we're both on YouTube right now, kind of. If you type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar, how's the camera look? Are we good? I love it how we come in on Monday, and I don't know why the camera's pointing at the ceiling, but hopefully now it's pointing directly to both of us.
The different approach that Casey and I take in regards to the YouTube is just, it is everything about men and women in one little event. So if you go to YouTube right now, you will see that Casey is very distraught because she does not have the perfect, like, what do they call that?
Frame.
Thank you. Yes. Casey obsesses over how's the lighting. Casey obsesses like, is my cleavage showing perfectly?
Sure.
Is my shoulder available to the men folk?
Mm-hmm.
And so Casey, just stresses out about the YouTube on a daily basis. And every time we go to a break, she's like, Kevin, are the cameras off?
That is so not
That's actually true.
Kevin,
She does ask
Kevin,
that
are the cameras like? No, don't say that's not true. The
I asked
first
him if
thing
the cameras
we do,
are off in case I got to blow my nose or something. I don't want it to be
the first thing
on
we do
camera.
when we go to break. It is not. It's Kendall and Casey show 93 WIBC. Kevin, are the cameras off? I'm surprised it doesn't actually go out over the air. So Casey obsesses just hours upon hours about the YouTube feed. The only thing I am concerned about is that if my governor is an idiot sign is properly displayed in the background for everyone to see. That's all that I worry about.
And you're on point this morning. It is nicely displayed. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff coming up to talk about. The new Axe the Tax ad from Suzanne Crouch. There's a new public divorce that we're going to get to. But let's start off with Donald Trump. He was on the Meet the Press program with the new moderator. I'm kind of bummed about this because I can't say Chuck Todd anymore. Now it's Kristen Welker.
Oh.
They talked for more than an hour. He was at his Bedminster, New Jersey estate.
Why would he do this, Casey?
Because he's Donald Trump and he likes the attention. He likes to be on camera.
We have had this conversation so many times. Donald Trump should never do interviews. There are certain people who do certain things well, and there are certain people who do an interview, and even if you know they're lying right to your face, you walk away and go, wow, that person's really good at doing interviews. Donald Trump is not that. Donald Trump is phenomenal at getting up on a stage in front of a large group of people where he can go unchallenged. And that is the environment in which Donald Trump sells ice to Eskimos. And you go, if you were an Eskimo, I really need this block of ice. Mm-hmm. Like, I watch those rallies. We've talked about this many times. And you say, this guy is a level of entertainer, that is on par with the Taylor Swift and the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. He stinks at doing interviews. He stinks at doing these interviews, and he keeps doing them, Casey. Why?
Well, you've interviewed him before. Is it hard to keep him on track? Because I felt like Kristen Welker kept having to redirect him back to the question at hand.
Casey, Donald Trump and I were not doing an interview together. Now, he did, of course, as you know, call me a great dream and say, wished every interview could be just like this and that I knew what was going on. I was not a guy in search of some sort of groundbreaking revelation during the interview. I was selected to do the interview because they said, Rob really likes Trump.
Okay.
These are two different animals here.
You were a fan.
Donald Trump goes on these mainstream network broadcast television shows, and it never ends well for him. It never ends well. And there's not a single solitary vote he was going to win in a Republican primary, which he's engaged in right now, by doing this interview. And yet he keeps doing them.
Okay, so they talked about a lot of different things. His legal issues, January 6th, and of course, abortion came up as well. But here he is discussing Joe Biden's lying.
Could I say one thing? Look at all the lies he's told over the last couple of weeks. He said he was at the World Trade Center, and he wasn't. He said he flew airplanes, right? He didn't. He said he drove trucks, and he didn't. Everything he says is like a lie. It's terrible.
Mr. President,
even his handicap in golf. He said he's a 6. He's not a 6.
I want to stay focused on you
okay,
for the purposes of this interview, okay? Because it's important that we hear from you about all of this.
Well, I'd like you to, but you keep interrupting me.
My favorite part, Kev, I don't know if we can isolate this.
Snort?
No, it's where, okay, number one, the world is falling apart around us, and Trump is focused on Biden's golf
game. Yes, okay. Why is he obsessed with
that?
Because
that's the way he operates. He gets on something and he can't do it. It's like me with the swimming pool in Brownsburg. Okay, you know how I get, Casey. The difference is that's terrible public policy that will actually harm people's pocketbooks, and that's why I'm against it. He is the same way, but with stupid stuff that doesn't matter. Like everybody lies about their golf score, Casey. I work at a golf course. Everybody fibs. That's why the pencils have erasers.
I think he is so offended by that because he also plays golf.
Yes, but it's about him. Perfect. Yes, boom. It is about him, and he must be a better golfer than Biden. My favorite part, though, Kev, I don't know if we can isolate this. This is like 5 or 7 seconds into the interview where she goes something to the effect of, "I'm going to keep you back on track," and he just goes, "Okay." Can we like just start from 5 seconds in, Kev?
He said he flew airplanes, right? He didn't. He said he drove trucks, and he didn't. Everything he says is like a lie. It's terrible.
Mr. President,
even his handicap in golf, he said he's a 6. He's not a 6.
I want to stay focused on you. Okay. For the purposes of this.
Okay.
Like this is why he doesn't do well in interviews, because he doesn't do well when somebody is there to punch back against him.
Well, he's definitely blurring the lines between his legal effort and his political effort because he's been using that to his advantage. Here he is talking about getting retribution.
Talk about retribution. Are you talking about directing your attorney general to try to go after your political enemies?
When I talk about retribution, I'm talking about fairness. We have to treat people fairly. These people on January 6th, some of them never even went into the building, and they're being given sentences of, many years.
Are you going to pardon
and nothing
those
is
people
happening? Well, I'm going to look at them, and I certainly might if I think it's appropriate. No, it's a very, very sad thing, and they're dividing the country so badly, and it's very dangerous.
Well, Mr. President, we're going to delve into that a little bit later on, but I want to stay on this idea of what you mean by retribution. Are you looking to appoint an attorney general who will prosecute the people you tell them to prosecute?
I'm looking to appoint an attorney general who's going to be tough on crime and fair.
He's looking to appoint an attorney general who will clear him of everything.
This is why this is frustrating to me, because Trump it is the equivalent of Kev is a single good-looking guy. And Kev went out, and we'll talk about that later. Kev has had an eye-opening, life-altering experience over the weekend, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Kev, it was as if when Kev went out with his friends on Friday night, somebody told Kev, you are going to meet the most amazing, gorgeous, total 10 woman in the world. And here are the 3 things that she is super into. And as long as you stay on these 3 topics, and here is exactly what you have to say to her, your life, my friend, the streets will be paved in gold with the most beautiful, amazing, perfect woman that ever lived. However, here's the 3 things you can't talk to her about, okay? So it doesn't matter your income. It doesn't matter your appearance. As long as you just talk to her about these 3 things and you stay away from these 3 things, you are going to be in like Flint, my friend. Absolutely. And Kev would go out and just immediately start talking about the 3 things that he's not supposed to talk about. And this is what Trump does. You know what people want to hear about? How much the economy sucks and how you're going to fix it. How much inflation sucks and how you're going to fix it. How much the border sucks and how you're going to fix it. And Trump has the answers to all of those things, and yet he keeps talking about this stuff that people are totally turned off by.
He keeps talking about Biden's golf game. Well, it's always a carnival-like atmosphere with this guy, right? And that's going to work with some people, but eventually independents are going to be done with that. And he needs those independents to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and you know why I love our YouTube chat, and you can actually see this for yourself if you go over there now. People point out as I'm rolling, sometimes you'll make a mistake, and I think I said Flint instead of Flynn. So very quickly, I just love the YouTube chat. 2 seconds later, Rob, you made a mistake there. That's why I love you guys. You're the best, and you can tell me how many mistakes I'm making too if you head over to YouTube and put Kendall and Casey in your search browser.
All right, one last thing. Donald Trump says that he will serve 1 more term, and that's it.
Is there any scenario by which, because Ron DeSantis says if he were elected, he'd have 2 terms and you'd only have 1 more term. Is there any scenario by which you would seek a 3rd term in office?
No. just so you understand, when DeSantis says that, that means he's not your man. He's not your man anyway because he's a very untalented guy, and he's proven that. He started out, everybody was talking to him. After I worked him over a little bit, he's gone down the tubes. I think he's going to end up being number 3 or 4. He just had a poll today. He was number 4. And by the way, the one that was number 2 was 59 points behind. So, it's very interesting. But when somebody says 8 years, we need 8 years, no. In 6 months to a year, many of the problems, almost all of the problems that you and I have just spoken about will be solved. Anybody that says they need 8 years, you don't want that person.
Okay, so he's going back to Iowa. He's been there 7 times. He's going to go back again. He's got 3 more visits to Iowa. He's really trying to build on what he's got going on there. He's embarking on a Team Trump caucus commitment, and he'll be there in Iowa later this week.
6 months, Casey?
Yeah.
All the world's problems could be solved in 6 months.
6 months. Oh,
what a deal!
That's good to know.
Sign me up for that!
That's good to know. It takes a lot of people a lot longer than that. 17 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Stop right now and ask yourself, what is most important to you? Hey, this is Casey Weed at Howard Bailey Financial, the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. We believe in developing retirement plans driven by what is most important to you, your purpose. Then we can build what we call your financial life plan, made up of 4 main pillars: liquidity for emergencies, income to last a lifetime, flexibility to adapt, estate planning to maximize your legacy, and finally, tax planning to maximize what you can spend and pass on. To learn more about saving on your taxes, get your free digital tax guide. Just call or text TAX42 to 866-482-9559. That's TAX42 to 866-482-9559.
Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, top, top.
Sarah, you don't look so good. Are you okay?
To be honest, I did it again last night. I promised myself it would be just 1 glass of wine, and I drank the whole bottle.
You need to get the drinking under control, Sarah. Trust me, I know. Wine o'clock used to be my favorite time of day, but I found that 1 glass always turned into more and realized I needed help. I did some research and found naltrexone.
Naltrexone?
It's an FDA-approved medication that reduces cravings and pleasure from drinking, making it easier to drink less or quit alcohol altogether. I started seeing results almost immediately.
How'd you get started with naltrexone?
It's easy with Or Health. Just send them a text and get a secure link to their private online assessment. One of their licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment and, if medication is right for you, prescribe it directly online. They even deliver your prescription right to your front door. No doctor's office visits required.
Thanks, Anne. I'm texting now.
You really can stop drinking or just drink less. Text PROMISE to 323232 to get started today. Text the word PROMISE to 323232. Text PROMISE to 323232.
Uline is here for the hard workers. For the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
Don't fall for the free furnace upcharge tricks. Get an honest, fair quote from Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer. Call themarshallnow.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
Midnight gangs assemble and picture 22 minutes after 9, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett's wife, Stephanie Hogsett, has filed for divorce. The online court records indicate that she filed the petition for divorce in Johnson County on September 8th, and the hearing for the proceedings is set for October 19th.
You know what I care about, Casey?
What's that?
Where was Joe Hogsett during the riots? And if his wife knows where he was during the riots, please, by all means, tell us.
Yeah. You think maybe she'd like to come on the show and have a Oprah-style interview?
She has a standing invitation to tell us. You know this divorce is going to be settled like that,
you
right?
Think so?
Come on. I mean, there's no way he wants whatever coming out. I guess after he gets reelected, then I guess it probably doesn't matter. But where was the mayor of the city of Indianapolis during the riots in which the downtown area was burned, looted, rioted, people died? We do not know where the mayor was. Now, I thought this quote was interesting, and there's just such a disconnect with these politicians and reality. So here is Hogsett's quote, according to Wish TV. Like so many families in Indianapolis, the last few years have been trying in ways that neither of us could have imagined. And the demands of life in public service have been felt not only by Steph and me, that's his wife, but every member of our family. Okay, so two things out of this. Number one, you made a lot of it trying. You locked the city down. You did the mask mandates. You lined up with the lunatic maniac protesters who burned this place to the ground. You, by default, that nobody knows where you were and weren't calling the shots, allowed those people to siege the city. The city was under control, Casey, until your people let them take it. I was here, Casey. I saw it happening. Okay, that's number one. You don't get any, it's been such a terrible, trying time the past 3 or 4 years. You did it. Number one. Number two, he is admitting essentially, Casey, and Tony Katz, it's rare Tony and I have the same take on something. And when that happens, I say, oh my gosh, this really must be the way it is. You are admitting by the fact that you are allowing this to happen, but you are continuing to run for re-election, that staying in public office and the power that comes with it is more important to you than your family.
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying it right here because you are still running. You are still going again. And Abdul has talked about this before, and I'm sure there'll probably be something that comes out on this in the cheat sheet. There's a lot of people who have claimed his wife wanted absolutely nothing to do with him running for a third term, and he chose to do it. That's fine. That's his right as an American, but it really says something when you essentially admit it in your statement that being in public office is more important to you than anything else.
Well, the one thing I can say about this is that she has the opportunity to divorce him. If he wins re-election, the people of Indianapolis cannot divorce him. We're stuck with him.
It's interesting you say that because coming up next hour during voicemails, we got a call from someone who works in public safety in the city of Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. And it is a phone call you will absolutely have to stick around for because they laid out just what it is like to have to work under and around Joe Hogsett and work in a city that he runs. And I thought that was fascinating. And you're right, Casey. We don't have the ability to break up with Joe Hogsett. Right. We as a collective are stuck with Joe Hogsett. And look, people's private lives are their private lives. However, in this case, Joe Hogsett's private life actually is part of the public discussion because no one knows where he was during the riots. And if she can shine some light on that, then by all means. No one knows where the mayor of the city of Indianapolis was as the city burned to the ground.
I think the divorce rate is somewhere around 50% now. Does this play into how voters would consider voting?
No, it should. Look, it shouldn't. That's between him and his wife. Those things are, it doesn't matter. They're consenting adults. They made a consenting adult decision. However, again, when your private life and allegations about your private life, which he has yet to refute, he has yet to provide evidence to the contrary of what the now very prolific rumors are about where he was during the riots, when that impedes your ability to do your job. Your private life is your private life. Your public life is your public life. But when your private life impedes your ability to do your job, and by impede your ability to do your job, I mean your downtown is getting destroyed and people are dying, then that to me all becomes fair game because you work for us.
He did say the last few years have been trying in ways that neither of us could have imagined. Yes, trying for everyone in Indianapolis. 28 after 9, it's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey, and I'd like to talk with you about improving your space with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They can totally transform any concrete that you have around your house, whether it's your garage floor, your driveway, pool deck coating, or even your patio. Consider them for indoor and outdoor concrete. Their number, 317-751-9070, or you can find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com, for a free quote. Whether it's indoor, outdoor concrete, Galaxy Concrete Coating.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple of weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
The impacts of the strike. It's 58 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Ford has laid off 600 employees at its assembly plant in Wayne, Michigan. As the United Auto Workers strike continues, the automaker announced the layoffs on Friday. GM says that it will idle its Fairfax assembly plant in Kansas, putting 2,000 people out of work. UAW President Shawn Fain says that the automaker's laying off of people who are not on strike is putting the squeeze to the union to settle for less. The swap is happening today.
The Iranians announced that the prisoner swap is going to take place today, and the $6 billion in previously frozen funds is already moved from South Korea into Qatar. The White House maintains that this is not a ransom payment because these are not U.S. taxpayer dollars. The 5 Iranians will receive clemency in exchange for the release of 5 American detainees, although 2 Iranians, according to the country's foreign minister, will stay in the U.S.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. And now the stock report on 93 WIBC. As we open this week on Wall Street, the Dow is up 21 points at 34,948. The Nasdaq is down 29 to 15,363, and the S&P 500 is off 1.5 to 4,496. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month. Free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security. And a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Go to spectrum.com/save more and use the Spectrum One savings calculator to see how much you can save today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Ready for some high-energy excitement and fun? Head to Jonesboro, Indiana, September 21st to 24th for the Jonesboro River Rally. Amazing stunt bike riders, a cool bike show, fun field events, cool light show, and rockin' live bands all weekend long. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
At the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's, walking means so much more. It means fighting for a different future, for families facing the disease today, for treatments. Because when you take part in Walk to End Alzheimer's, you're not just walking, you're fighting to stop the disease. We're closer than ever, but to get there, we need you. Join us for the world's largest fundraiser to fight the disease. Register today at alz.org/walk.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and how about a game-winning strategy to tackle those ugly summer stains in those carpets? More than that, your carpets are the largest air filter in your home and can hold 4 times their weight in dirt. Where do you think everybody sneezes, wipes their shoes, and drops food? That's right, your carpets. And the kids are headed back to the germ pools at school, and they need a safe space when they get back home. It really is a great time to clean the carpets, and it's quick and easy to schedule online. Nobody but Zero Res has the patented electrolyzed ZR water that cleans with no soap, no harsh chemicals, and no residue to attract more dirt. They can even clean your ductwork to help you breathe easier. Duct cleaning improves the air quality in your home as well as the efficiency of your HVAC equipment and reducing energy costs. Schedule online today at zeroresindy.com and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139, and they'll give you a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, visit zeroresindy.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It is 9:34. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob, you can wear whatever you want to work.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Right?
That's why I chose radio.
Yeah. And now you can kind of wear whatever you want if you're a senator. It's according to Chuck Schumer. He directed the Senate sergeant to no longer enforce the chamber's informal dress code. So they can do whatever they want. He came out and said senators are able to choose what they want to wear on the Senate floor. I will continue to wear a suit. But this is for John Fetterman, right?
Totally. I mean, and this is, when we see the eroding of our institutions, and when you think about, Mr. Fuddy-Duddy over here, the United States Senate was once deemed and universally respected as the greatest deliberative body in the world. And this obviously taken from the Roman times and the Roman Empire, and where the Senate was very powerful, and that's why our system of government is set up that way. And you say, look, if you want to be a guy who wears sweatpants and a cardigan that your mother bought you for the 5th day in a row without washing it, go be on the radio. If you want to be a U.S. senator, you wear a freaking suit and tie because you represent, while you are elected by the people of your state, you vote and represent or impact 330 million Americans. And part of that means a certain level of decorum and respect for this nation and the people of this nation, which means you put on a freaking suit and tie and you go to work. I mean, we just keep seeing the eroding of the institutions and the excusing of the institutions. And this is why the country's in the shape it's in. And it's not just because, because he isn't wearing a suit and tie. It is respect for tradition. It is respect for the people. It is respect for this country. It is a respect for the office. And many of these people in elected office don't have any of it.
I was just, you hit the nail right on the head there, because I was just writing in my notes, lack of respect. Now, this is different. This isn't you running out to Walmart or Meijer at 10 o'clock on a Friday night in your jammy pants. This is the United States Senate. And of course, John Fetterman wearing gym shorts and hoodies. But is he trying to say, well, I am representing my constituents. This is how they dress. I'm one of them.
No, that's bullcrap. He's doing this because he's lazy and a slug and a bum. Casey, when I was in a local elected office, which is nowhere near the importance or reverence of the U.S. Senate, at almost every meeting I wore a suit and tie. If I didn't, on occasion, I would wear a very nice polo golf shirt and slacks and with a belt and corresponding shoes, etc. It's a respect for the community. It's a respect in this case by this guy for the state of Pennsylvania, and these people have none of it. And this goes back to the theme we've told you for years on this show, which is these people do not like you, they do not care about you, and certainly they do not respect you.
You're supposed to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So by that account, what is the job that John Fetterman wants with his gym shorts and his hoodies?
Okay, let's just put this out there, because you are the voice of reason on this show, and we all know that I'm a radical right-wing, whatever, what do they call me, QAnon or whatever. Fetterman looks different, doesn't he?
He does, a little.
I mean, he looks, and I'm not just talking about like he has a mustache and before he had a goatee.
People are commenting that the face, his head changed shapes, and there's been certain pictures of him without tattoos where there used to be tattoos.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and I want to take away all of that because Photoshop can whatever. I've seen this guy on the news, so I'm not saying like, here's a still photo of Fetterman, and look, he has a freckle here and no freckle there. He physically looks like a different human than what you saw even 8 or 9 months ago when he was debating Dr. Oz on stage. I'm just telling you, he just looks like a different human being to me. I'm not saying he is a different human. I'm saying he physically looks different than he did when he was running for U.S. Senate.
Well, he's been through a major medical episode, so that will change your body. Medications can do that as well. Diet, lifestyle, all of those things can affect the way you look.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I was not living in some fantasy world, because I know you are, like I said, the voice of reason here. When I said he looks like a different person, you would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, very
I think
good.
So. I think so as well. Yeah. Let's talk about Kevin McCarthy. He launched that impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, and these are over allegations related to Hunter's business dealings. And Large Marge, she was sitting down with Maria help me out here.
Bartoloma.
Bartoloma. No,
that's what we've been calling her for years, Casey.
There's no
That's
L
just
in
so
there.
much easier. Yes, I know. I'm just being funny with you.
And she's talking about that they're going to start subpoenaing the Biden family members.
Are we going to see a subpoena of Biden family members?
I will say yes eventually, but we're going to have all of the information in front of us beforehand. And here's something else.
But what if you don't get it?
Well, let me tell you who else we need to have. We need to have every single federal bureaucrat that covered up Joe Biden's crimes for all these years. This isn't anything new, because those are the people that we have to fire, and those are the people that under a Republican-held White House, under President Trump, the Department of Justice needs to prosecute.
So McCarthy said that he wanted more evidence before calling the president's son in to testify before Congress. And he said that they've got bank statements, but they need more. What more are they looking for?
That is a phenomenal question, Casey. I mean, you literally had the two IRS agents get up in front of the entire world and tell you in intricate detail the schemes and scams that Hunter Biden was running. And you have had, when you couple those people's testimony with the former business partner, and then you've got the Bobolinsky guy, and you have the laptop and everything that came out. Like, what else? What are we looking for here? What is this smoking gun that doesn't exist that we think already exists. By the way, Casey, that's my new thing I'm going to do. And I tried it, and you caught it, which was very good. Anytime you ask how to pronounce someone's name, I'm going to get it wrong and see how long you'll go with it.
How long I'll go with
Yes.
it? Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she went on and she said that Biden lies, he's corrupt, and that he has changed U.S. policy based on being corrupt.
We've been trying to identify, Congresswoman, we've been trying to identify what specific policy changes did Joe Biden make, or was Joe Biden behind to understand why he was paid and his family was paid these $20+ million, although Nancy Mace told me it's up to $50 million.
Well, Maria, you're absolutely right. Well, we know policy changes were made. Joe Biden, as Vice President of the United States, withheld $1 billion in U.S. aid to Ukraine to get the Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin fired. And then I would argue that we're in a war in Ukraine in a proxy war with Russia today. Why? Because the Bidens are on the hook. He couldn't say no to Zelensky, and he still can't say no to Zelensky. These are the types of dangerous policy decisions that this leader has made, and he's lied about them. He lied about 9/11 just last week, and if he lies about that, he will lie about anything.
She just said that we're sending all of this money to Ukraine because Joe Biden.
Yes.
And his lies.
Yes, that's...
And they have it over him. It's like blackmail.
Yeah, hi, welcome to the party, pal.
That's what she just said.
Get ready, pal.
Okay, so they have to find out, did he change, all of this policy based on that?
Well, he admitted he did it. He's on tape, Casey. He's on video. There's no way you could be, well, that's been doctored. He was in a public meeting and told the story about how he got that prosecutor axed, and everybody knows he did it. It's not like he didn't say it himself. This is why when they keep going, we need more documents, we need more. He's on tape admitting he did it, and we played that audio of Shokin, the prosecutor, on Fox News going in intricate detail about what actually happened of what Joe Biden admitted to. Just bring him in. Just bring Shokin in and go, hey, what happened? And then play the clip of Biden saying what he did. We're done here.
So when is Kevin McCarthy going to send out these subpoenas? They're not giving a date. They're not saying when it's going to happen. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy now outwardly saying that Trump is stronger and that he'll be the nominee.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Suzanne Crouch has a new ad out, and she is all in on axing the tax. And finally, Casey, she has come up with a way to pay for it.
Yeah.
We'll see what you think.
Okay, it's coming up next from 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, we're not going to have a government shutdown unless, of course, we have a government shutdown. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/primetime and use code PRIMETIME. That's code PRIMETIME at prizepicks.com/primetime for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's talk about something called T-Mobile Home Internet Lite. What is light internet and who approved that idea? Internet Lite is almost like 5G internet, but once you download a few video games or movies and hit your cap, you get throttled to dial-up speeds, like from the 90s. Bogus. You don't have time for that. You need robust, fast, reliable internet. You need Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFacts.
Now through September 21st, new customers can get 75 megabits per second Xfinity internet for less than what you would pay for T-Mobile Home Internet. It's all just $20 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask about a free line of Xfinity Mobile. Go to Xfinity.com/TMOFacts, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, my wife and I are customers of Indy Decorative Concrete. They did an amazing job. I have an old house. The sidewalk and the porch was falling apart, and they transformed our sidewalk and porch into a custom-stamped concrete area with more space and an absolutely awesome, unique look. And I love that Indy Decorative Concrete is locally owned. They don't use subcontractors. You have to check out their website, indydecorativeconcrete.com. That's indydecorativeconcrete.com.
24/7 ER care for kids. 24/7 peace of mind for you. Riley Children's Health emergency doctors and nurses are in the ER around the clock at IU Health North in Carmel. Learn more at rileychildrens.org/ER.
Head to the WIBC.com contest page and enter for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the 34th Annual Indianapolis Fall Boat and RV Show, September 22nd through the 24th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
12 minutes in front of 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Suzanne Crouch used her first campaign ad not to introduce herself, but to sell her now signature tax-cutting proposal. She said it even has a name.
She's all in on this. I mean, her whole thing now is this axe the income tax.
Yeah.
And let's play the ad first, shall we, Casey?
Sure.
And then we'll do a little deep dive
Okay.
on old Silent Suzanne's big proposal.
Under Bidenomics, Hoosiers are hurting. Suzanne Crouch has the solution. Combine Indiana's massive budget surplus with less government and more efficient operations to end Indiana's income tax.
I even have a name for it. Axe the Tax.
Suzanne Crouch will save Hoosiers thousands.
I can guarantee you that the radical left will scream bloody murder, but that money's not theirs. It's yours. And as governor, I'll make sure you get it.
Okay, so full disclosure, once upon a time I worked for Suzanne Crouch, and I think we've said that many times. I didn't go in working for Suzanne Crouch. Casey, did you know I had the pleasure of working for 3 auditors in about 9 months? And I think we've told some of that story about how Mike Pence appointed a guy to be state auditor who he didn't vet and had no business being state auditor, and then Pence, once he found out he was lazy and didn't do his homework, then strong-armed the guy into resigning, and then after he strong-armed the guy into resigning, lied to the state about why he resigned and claimed he had no idea. I think we told him that before. So his replacement was Suzanne Crouch. And I've always found Suzanne to be a very, very nice person, and people might say, well, you're really critical of her. Yes, because she's a public official. And there is no way that any intellectually honest person believes that someone, in this case, the someone being Suzanne Crouch, who was 100% subservient and silent and a cheerleader for Eric Holcomb, who has enacted the largest government in state history, the largest tax increases in state history, and the largest growth of the role and scope of government in state history, is now suddenly going to be some anti-government crusader who is going to be slashing programs like they're going out of style. No reasonable person would believe it. Look, if she had been an adversary the whole time, and she had been objecting, or she had been encouraging her colleagues to vote against these things, okay, now we got a ball game. But she hasn't done any of that.
I like how she starts it off by saying Bidenomics is draining the hopes and savings of Hoosier families. She's blaming the Biden administration. And yes, rightfully so, because it's because of that administration we have a lot of the high inflation. But It's part of her administration for growing government in the state of Indiana, and that's why she has that nickname, Silent Suzanne. She did nothing while it was happening.
So Capital Chronicle had a corresponding article with this, and they claim she's proposing capping spending growth to a 2% inflation-adjusted rate. There's no way she's going to pull that off. And nobody who is remotely informed or intellectually honest believes she's going to do that, because she is trying to become the head of a party that is addicted. Rod and Todd, the Flanders boys who run the Indiana General Assembly, and those rank and file Republicans are addicted to big government now. You are going to need somebody to come in with a sledgehammer to fix the modern Republican Party. She's not that person. And 70%, look, you want to talk about hard conversations. We talk about hard conversations on a federal level, like the entitlements, Medicaid, and Social Security, and nobody wants to talk about that. 70% of the state budget now is Medicaid and public education. There's no way you're going to be able to do this proposal unless you make major changes to Medicaid and public education policy in the state of Indiana.
She says that she wants to modernize the tax code and restrict the growth and cost of state government. Wasn't she part of the growing of the state government?
Thank you.
And now she's going to do a 180 and say, it ain't me, babe. No, it ain't me.
I love that you got some Dylan in there. That's
Thank you.
phenomenal. Very
Yeah.
well done on a Monday.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You know how that warms my heart.
I know. I do it for you.
So again, I don't even need to do a nickname with this one. It's just that the whole thing is disingenuous, because nobody who knows Suzanne Crouch, she is a political insider. She has spent most of her adult life now moving up the political ladder. She always paints herself as, I unwillingly went into politics. Yeah, okay, when you're a county auditor, maybe. Like, hey, it's like being the town treasurer.
But she got a taste
of
it.
Right? Like, you've literally done all the things that a career politician would do. You went from an auditor to a state rep to a state auditor to lieutenant governor. Now you want to be governor. And it's fine. There's countries riddled with these sorts of people. But people who elevate up the ladder like that are not the reformers. They're not the change agents. They're not people with big ideas.
Not the disruptors?
No, of course not. And that's what the Indiana Republican Party is going to have in the next governor if you're going to actually fix the issues. And she's just full of it.
She says the strategy could yield nearly $2,000 per Hoosier family on average. That would be fantastic, but she's going to come across some well-funded candidates in a very big competition.
And again, what's going to happen is if you pick her, and I'm telling you, because I know these people like the back of my hand, you're going to pick her because Pence did the same thing. Pence ran on this big income tax. Pence was doing this. What was that? 11 years ago, Casey. Pence was running on the same thing. I know, Casey. I went and testified on behalf of the bill to get rid of the income tax. I remember. I was at the State House. And you know what happened? The state legislature looked at Mike Pence and said, we're not doing that. And you know what Mike Pence said? He said, okay, sorry for having any ideas. And that totally went away, and it was never seen or heard from again. And look at where we're at 11 years later. We still have the income tax.
Wait, you testified against that?
I testified for it.
Okay. When was that?
It would have been 2012 when they still liked me, before I had to go work under the guy and realized what a complete piece of garbage he was.
Testify harder next time.
Yeah, that's why when it's like, Rob Kendall's just disgruntled. Nah, I just don't like you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. We're going to hear from more from Donald Trump coming up with Kendall and Casey, 93 WIBC.
How would you like to free up some serious cash? Or at the very least, cut your monthly payments by $1,000 or so each month? Hey, what's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel Show. People are doing that every day with Loan Pronto's all new Equity Express line of credit. Listen, your home value is way up, and Loan Pronto can help you access the equity without touching your primary mortgage. You can get tens of thousands out with very little paperwork and usually without an appraisal. With Loan Pronto, you can get $50,000 or $100,000 out right now. Pay off all of those 27% interest credit cards or your personal loans. For every $10,000 of debt that you consolidate, you can cut your monthly payments by nearly $500. Stop paying insane credit card rates. Call Loan Pronto right now. 317-953-6525. 317-953-6525 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hi, I'm Joe Wrights, former Colts offensive lineman.
And I'm Jill Wrights. Traumatic brain injury is so sad and so life-changing.
That's why we support a groundbreaking organization building a better future for adults living with a TBI.
Villa was founded right here in Indiana, but what we are doing will affect families around the country. Families struggling to support and lift up their loved one after a life-changing head injury.
Go to braininjury.me. That's braininjury.me.
Hey Hoosiers, it's your Congressman Greg Pence. Let's get straight to the point. Joe Biden's policies are not working for the average Hoosier. Inflation is absolutely still out of control. I'm putting Hoosier values first. Promoting energy independence, opposing woke policies, and fighting for our families is my focus. To learn more about my efforts, go to pence.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0696. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0696. That's 800-583-0696. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way. Offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coming up in 2 minutes, there aren't any workers striking in Indiana, but how the UAW strike may end up impacting Hoosiers directly. And who saved the day for the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday? I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
They're no longer prisoners in Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 5 Americans the U.S. says were wrongfully detained are on a plane flying from Iran to Qatar, released in a prisoner swap.
And the Iranians are also reporting that 2 of the 5 Iranian prisoners the U.S. is releasing have already arrived in Doha. The administration, by the way, has not given us the names of those 5 Iranians the U.S. is giving back. They say this deal is very fragile, but they said broadly these are not people that were charged or convicted of violent offenses, that they were mostly involved in sanctions violations. According to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, 2 of the 5 are going to remain here in the U.S.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. That prisoner swap also unfreezes $6 billion in Iranian money the U.S. says can only be used for humanitarian purposes. Republicans critical in Congress fear it'll be spent on terrorism and Iran's nuclear program and incentivize more American hostage-taking. A suspected killer captured in Los Angeles 2 days after
a video shows a strange car pulling up to the patrol vehicle of Los Angeles County Deputy Ryan Klinkenbroomer and then speeding off. The deputy would be found shot.
Fox's Evan Brown. We expect to learn more about that suspect later today. Another manhunt also ended early this morning in Pennsylvania, capturing all 9 juveniles who broke out of a detention center in Morgantown. State Trooper David Bames says they fled during a riot last night.
Basically, what happened was they overtook 2 of the females to get the keys.
Hunter Biden is suing the IRS. The president's son claims 2 agents leaked information about an investigation to smear him. Those whistleblowers have alleged Hunter Biden got preferential treatment in the probe, which led to a tax evasion misdemeanor plea deal that fell apart in court. It's day 4 of the UAW strike.
The majority of Americans want fair pay.
He's one of the auto workers picketing at a Stellantis plant in Toledo, Ohio. They also walked off the job at a Ford plant in Michigan and a GM facility in Missouri. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The Hoosier Impact. It's 59 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The UAW strike is already impacting some parts of the economy. Ford and GM have already announced layoffs because of the strike. Well, Gary Dick with Inside Indiana Business says Indiana auto plants could start feeling the squeeze.
And as the strike goes on, and there are lots of indications that it's not going to get solved anytime soon, we'll begin to see those impacts.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz that the big 3 plants in Marion, Kokomo, and Fort Wayne are all at risk if the strike continues. 2 teenagers shot in Muncie over the weekend. The 2 who were shot are expected to survive. Then in South Bend, 4 people were shot. It was during a Mexican Independence Day party in a neighborhood. Police say the 4 people hurt will be okay. Police are looking for the shooter in both shootings. There are thousands of open teaching positions here in Indiana. Ryan Hedrick explains.
National Education Association President Becky Pringle says teachers are leaving the profession mainly because they don't feel respected.
And for them, that meant a professional pay for the important work they do. For them, that meant professional respect to make teaching and learning decisions for their students.
Pringle says kids are often used as political pawns in culture war and book bans in public education spaces. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The average price for gas in Indiana is back down to $3.64 a gallon, says Gas Buddy. Gardner Minshew threw for over 170 yards and a touchdown in relief of Anthony Richardson as the Colts beat the Texans on Sunday. Richardson left the game with a concussion.
Hey, Gardner Minshew has to get the start, man. He has to get the start.
Thank God for Gardner Minshew. I thought Gardner played really well. I know this is AR's team.
Fans reacting on the Bell Tire Radio Network. The Colts have the Baltimore Ravens on the road next week. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? We'll find that American Standard Air Dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
This hour is powered by Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your American Standard Air dealer serving Central Indiana.
To Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 18th. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. He's on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. I'm there too. Casey Daniels 317. We're both on YouTube right now. If you type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. Coming up this hour, we've got your voicemails. We're going to hear from you. We'll also talk about the latest with Tim Ballard. He is the hero from the Sound of Freedom movie, the main guy that movie is based on. But first, let's start off with Donald Trump, shall we? He was on Meet the Press with the new host, Kristen Welker. How about that for a get for her, right? She takes over from Chuck Todd, and her very first interview is with Donald Trump. That's quite a big thing for her to get some eyeballs.
If you're Trump, why would you do this? What is the gain for Trump? I know what the loss is, and we're about to play it here in this segment. Mm-hmm. But what is the gain for Donald Trump? And I think if you're a Republican primary voter, you do have to give yourself pause, because Trump claims, well, I won't do the debate because I'm winning by so much that I can only go down. So wait a second. You won't do a debate with other Republicans, but you will go on super left NBC. Well, if the thing is I'm so far ahead it doesn't matter what I do, okay, we can accept or reject that on its face. But you're going on television. Mm-hmm. You're telling me you'll be accountable to far left NBC, but you won't stand on a stage with other people who are competing against you and answer their questions. I don't know. That rubs me the wrong way. Maybe you look at that and don't see any problem with it. But to me, it's like, what are our priorities here?
Do you think this is an ego thing with Donald Trump, as most things are, that he wanted to be the first guest with the new host on Meet the Press?
Do you think anybody's like, oh my gosh, there's a new host on Meet the Press, I must go watch whatever underachiever they've chosen this time? Tim Russert has been dead since 2008. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just been one loser after another. That's not even there was a time, Casey, where yes, hey, so-and-so is taking over Meet the Press, and their first interview is with fill in the blank. And that was nobody's watching these shows anymore other than the people that are super engaged politically, and half the audience has been totally chased away from that they once had because they're so far bent to the left.
Well, it was a pre-taped interview, and do you think that he gave the go-ahead after the impeachment inquiry into Biden? Like, he's thinking, okay, now NBC's ready to play ball?
Yeah, but what's the old saying, Casey? If your opponent is, what's the old saying? If your opponent is shooting themselves in the foot, don't stand in their way. I mean, I'm totally butchering that. But the premise of it is, if the person you're against is having all these self-inflicted wounds, don't stand up and say anything. Just let them keep shooting.
Yeah, just let them go with it.
I don't know. It just really, really bothers me that he will not do these debates, because that's about accountability, yet he will go on someplace like NBC that has burned him in the ass so many times.
I feel like maybe he thinks that he can direct the conversation when it's a one-on-one
But he
interview.
never does.
No, he
never
didn't.
goes the way he wants it to, and he will not learn.
So it was his first broadcast network interview since he left office. So again, I think that's a good get for her, and don't know what it does for him. But in it, he talks that he might pick a woman as his 24 running mate, and he specifically called out South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem.
Mr. President, have you thought about a potential running mate if you were to win the nomination?
I like not to think too much about that. You always do a little bit, but I really don't think it's time. I want to win. And, it's very interesting about running mates. When you get down to a vice president, they said, no, nobody's ever made that kind of a difference. It's still about the person that's going to be president. It's an important decision.
Are you leaning toward a woman?
I like the concept, but we're going to pick the best person. But I do like the concept, yes.
A lot of people noticed when Governor Noem endorsed you, there were Trump Noem signs. Do you have your eye on her?
I do. I think she's fantastic. She's been a great governor. She gave me a very full-throated endorsement, a beautiful endorsement, actually. And, it's been a very good state for me. And certainly she'd be one of the people I'd consider, or for something else maybe. But we have a lot of people. We have a lot of great people in the Republican Party.
You heard it too, didn't you? Yeah, you sure did.
Words. Okay, so this came out, and then just moments later, news starts swirling around Kristi Noem and a possible alleged affair that she had with a former Trump advisor.
With friend of the show, Corey Lewandowski.
Mm-hmm.
We may actually have that piece of audio of Corey Lewandowski also saying what a great guy I am. Maybe we'll try to find that here during the break. Because, everyone said I'm a great guy at one point or another.
Of course. They all say that. So, I don't know. Has she lost her chance possibly to be on that ticket?
No,
or does Trump even care about that?
No, and the vice president, for the most part, doesn't matter. I mean, when was the last time a vice president mattered? You'd probably have to say Johnson and Kennedy, 1960, Texas. I think you could safely say Johnson delivered Texas for Kennedy, which that and all the dead people voting in Cook County gave him the presidency. But for the most part, I mean, if I'm not saying this to be facetious or flippant, can you tell me another time since 1960 that the vice president in a single state or states plural delivered for the candidate that won them the election?
Well, why did he pick Pence?
He picked Pence not because of a state. He picked Pence because Trump had a huge issue with, he felt, securing evangelicals and kind of the traditional wing of the Republican Party. And Pence brought some sort of reassurance to Trump that he was going to get that. Now, I don't think that won him the presidency. I don't think it would have mattered. That's why he made the pick, though. I mean, it's one thing to say, well, hey, I'm going to have a balancing act. But it's another thing to say, well, I'm picking this person because they will deliver fill in the blank.
And what's Kristi Noem going to deliver? Possibly.
Well, boy, we know that, don't we?
Possibly suburban women who like the idea of a female vice president again. Okay, so she goes on during this Meet the Press interview. She asked Donald Trump what he sees when he sees his mugshot.
Mr. President, tell me what you see when you look at your mugshot.
I see somebody that loves this country in me, that loves this country. I see tremendous unfairness. I think very few people would have been able to handle what I handled.
So he's been using this, the indictments for his campaign.
Yeah.
It helps him. Because every time all summer long, more indictments rolled out, his numbers went up. So he's just going to continue to use that.
All right, let's get to, I think, the most important part of this interview. And this is why we have said Trump should not do interviews. It never ends well for him, even if it's not the left that's attacking him. He says something that needlessly alienates people. And I will tell you what, Casey, I have seen and again, I understand social media, not real life, right? The internet doesn't vote. But I have seen such a backlash from people who have previously been Trump supporters. I don't know if you'd call them loyalists, but people who have, stood up for the president over the statement that he made about abortion. And look, is it going to cost him 30, 40 points so that he doesn't win? No, probably not. But what you are doing is you are needlessly creating hard feelings because you're not winning anything over his statement on abortion. So he was asked about these other states who have created these heartbeat bills, for lack of a better term. Florida, I think Ohio has one. We basically have it here in Indiana. I don't think they called it that. But saying we're going to protect life from the moment you can detect a heartbeat, which I think any morally decent person would say that's a good idea because that's a life and you shouldn't kill it. Listen to this answer Trump gives.
I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that
I
goes
think what
too
he
far?
did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
He doesn't clarify his own opinion, his own position, but why is it a terrible thing that Ron DeSantis did?
And I think you don't want to try to put words in Trump's mouth. That's an incredibly dangerous thing. There is an argument to be made by people who say, well, you don't have the votes for this right now, and it's such a controversial topic, and if you don't have the votes to go forward with a national ban or heartbeat bill or whatever you want to call it, then you're just wasting needless political capital, and that could be used somewhere else, and you're just alienating people who otherwise might be on your team. Oh, so now Trump is concerned about needlessly alienating people who otherwise might be on his team. And when it comes to life and the sanctity of life, there is no more important issue, Casey.
Do you think he lost the evangelical vote by saying that? Are they going to turn on him now?
The excuse squad is interesting with Trump. My wife and I were talking about this last night. The people who continue, no matter what Trump does, No matter what he does, we've already talked about, the COVID stuff. It said of Fauci, the printing of the money, the debts, the deficit. I mean, they will excuse his behavior, and there are people now who are excusing this. Mm-hmm. And when there is no important issue than the issue of life, because if we don't have life, none of the rest of this stuff matters. And even if your ultimate position, and Trump knows this better than anybody else, even if your ultimate position isn't a heartbeat bill, if you start there, then you can negotiate something that is markedly better than what we have today. But you're not going to get that unless you start with a hardline position. He knows that. He's a negotiator. That's what he spent his whole life doing. He's saying this because he doesn't want to deal with it, and he thinks it's a headache. He thinks protecting innocent babies, innocent life, is a headache.
He's been called the most pro-life president ever. And he did switch his tune back in 2011 because he used to support abortion rights, and then he wanted to run for president, and he knew that wasn't going to fly, so he changed his tune. Now he's saying that he would sit down with both sides and negotiate a deal on abortion that would result in, quote, peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years.
Okay, so let's just let's just play this out, Casey. Okay, let's just use kind of like real world examples of people who we know. Okay, so he claims he's going to negotiate a deal. How the hell is Trump going to negotiate a deal between Micah Beckwith and Destiny Wells? What sort of dealio are you going to negotiate with those two
Where
people?
They can both agree?
There is no agreement on this.
Right.
Either you are for sucking the brains out of a defenseless fetus or you are not. There is no middle ground on this. There is no come together on this. Either you're for it or you're against it. And in the case of Micah Beckwith or someone like him, you have somebody who is for life. And in the case of Destiny Wells, you have somebody who is for abortion from conception to live birth. What's the middle ground there, Casey? He's so full of it.
Okay, so Democrats have made it real clear that they're going to use his role in Roe v. Wade against him. And when he says stuff like that, I think it just makes it worse. I almost feel like he was trying to just rip on DeSantis.
He is.
But it didn't come out right.
He is. And yes, he deserves a lot of credit for putting 3 justices on there who were integral in the overturning of Roe versus Wade, which will save countless lives. He absolutely deserves credit. But then it's like, you know what it's like? It's like Shreve with Hogsett and the gun violence. You had a freebie. It was yours. It was free parking. It was, if you're playing Monopoly, just keep going and playing the game. This one's yours. We've given it to you. Nah, I don't want that one. And in the case of Shreve, comes out with this stupid, ridiculous gun proposal that totally pissed everybody off, who otherwise should have been just slam dunk voters. It's the same thing with Trump. You already had those people because of you appointing those judges who did this thing that people really like. And now you're flushing that down the toilet by saying you're not for protecting life.
It is 18 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So last week, we reminded you that Mitt Romney said he's not running for re-election. And there's a new guy coming out who's saying, pick me. And we'll tell you who it is coming up from 93 WIBC.
Stopped on 465
from
again.
the north side.
We haven't moved on 37
to the
since
south
yesterday.
side.
Avoid south side 465
to the west side.
Yeah, stopped on westbound 465
to
again.
the east
People
side.
Gridlock all the way through the east side.
Traffic's a bear.
Drove into a ditch through the tree line.
And
just
Matt Bear,
traffic stop on the right.
He's a beast.
Traffic jam of epic proportion.
Helping you navigate the.
Oh, come on.
And the.
Let's go.
And the. With Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Real estate research reports housing prices are still slowly rising and inventory is still below historical averages. Now is a great time to get a big payday from your equity growth. Hire the agent who is an expert on maximizing your home price fast, Mark Dietl. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Jim and Emily in Shelbyville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were ready for more space and an upgrade for our family. We heard about Mark, and we were impressed by his aggressive marketing plan. Impressive is right. Home sold in 2 days for cash at asking price. Mark also found our new, bigger, better home and arranged so we could stay in our old home until move-in day. Call for all the details. Call the agent I trust and recommend and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
With the seasons about to change, it's a great time to get your home prepped for the months ahead and take advantage of Hope Plumbing's membership program. For just $8 a month, you receive 1 annual complimentary mainline cleaning and a plumbing safety inspection. Become a Hope Plumbing member today and have the comfort of knowing you have a plumber on call and put your mind at ease, knowing your home is prepped for the upcoming winter months. Call Hope Plumbing today and start saving big.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer. If a car accident has left you with a concussion or memory loss, you could be suffering from a traumatic brain injury. Just click to get help quick, so we can help you get the medical attention you deserve. Go to WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
See that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Learn it, know it, live it.
But it ain't me, babe. No, it ain't me, babe.
He says he's very seriously considering it. 22 minutes after 10 is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
You know how much trouble I've gotten in over the years, Casey, for, quote, seriously considering
things? That could be the answer for anything. I'm seriously considering it. I'll think about it. Maybe. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so we're talking about Tim Ballard, and he is the guy who was the basis for the movie Sound of Freedom.
Yes.
He's the former DHS agent that movie was based off of.
Now, for those of you who don't know, that was a movie. It stars Jim Caviezel. Caviezel plays him in the movie. Jim Caviezel, of course, Passion of the Christ, played Jesus in Passion of the Christ. It was this upstart, I think, like crowdfunded basically movie, and it beat all sorts of it beat Indiana Jones. I think it beat the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. I mean, well over $100 million at the box office. It cost like whatever it was, $10 or $14 million to make, and this movie about human trafficking in America and around the world.
So he's the founder of Our Rescue, and he's the real-life guy, not the actor from the movie, but the real-life guy. And he says that he will likely run for the Senate seat in Utah because we reminded you last week, Mitt Romney said he's not going to run for re-election, so there will be an open seat in 25. And Tim Ballard is saying, yeah, he's very seriously considering it.
So Utah is a very interesting state in the sense of they have a very, I don't know if independent streak is the right word, but like, for example, that Evan McMullen weirdo that ran in, was it 2020 against as an independent, or maybe it was 2016. Anyway, he got a whole bunch of votes. Utah was very close. By the time it got split, Trump ultimately won. And so their senators right now are super weird because you've got Mike Lee, who is one of the most conservative members of the U.S. Senate, and then you've got Romney, who is this carpetbagging, disingenuous clown who is not even from Utah, literally moved there to run for Senate and is super liberal. So, look, it's kind of like replacing Holcomb. I don't really like any of these people who are running for governor here, but other than Chambers and Suzanne, the rest of them would be a huge upgrade because it couldn't be any worse. Kind of the same thing here, right? Anybody would be better than Romney.
So I was curious because you mentioned, Romney being carpetbagger. Romney, born in Michigan, spent much of his life in Massachusetts, and then all of a sudden became a senator for Utah.
Think about Romney's life real quick, Casey. He was most noted because his father was governor of Michigan. Like Michigan was his home state.
Yeah.
Then he moves to Massachusetts to become the governor there, then runs for president, loses, and then magically finds his way out to Utah. When I talk about professional office hopper, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
See Mitt Romney.
See Aaron Houchin, see Mitt Romney.
But that made me curious. Okay, Tim Ballard, he's saying that he's considering it. He said he's getting a lot of calls from people, and it makes it easier for him to think about it. Is he from Utah?
Yes. He was born in Provo, And I think he obviously spent years living other places, serving the government, serving the people of America. And then in 2015, he moved back to Utah. So, yes, it appears he actually is from and lives in Utah.
So he would not be a carpetbagger like
no.
Mitt Romney. That definitely would help, I think, people vote for him.
And look, bottom line is we have no idea what this guy's politics actually are. You don't know. You know
Right.
where he is on one very publicized issue.
Which should not be political at all.
No. So you have no idea. I mean, this guy could be super liberal on spending. They could be, whatever. I don't know. I don't gather that from the interviews I've seen this guy do, some of the writings, etc. But you don't know. But again, anyone would be better than Romney, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone.
Well, I think he would offer some really unique insight into the consequences of failed border policies because he's seen it firsthand. And boy, he's got a story to run on as well, something that I think would resonate with a lot of voters.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, voicemails. We've got a voicemail about Hogsett from someone who works for the city of Indianapolis, and it's fascinating.
Okay, it's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Oh, how great it would feel to have your 20-year-old knees, shoulders, hips, and back.
You know, you don't think about your pains when you're in your 20s or 30s, but you wish you could get that body back when you're in your 60s. I think QC did that for me.
For Patrick, it started with a simple phone call to QC Kinetics.
One day I was driving and I just heard the radio and I pulled over and took the number and I called them when I got home.
Maybe that's you, and you're listening right now. Why wait? QC Kinetics Regenerative Treatments uses your body's own natural biologics to heal and restore damaged tissue without invasive surgery or harmful drugs. And as for the results,
my knees are as good as they were when I was in my 20s. I'm really happy with what happened.
For Patrick, it's like QC Kinetics turned back the clock. Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0696. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0696. That's 800-583-0696. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Charges against the Attorney General. It's 61 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Charges have been filed against Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. The state Supreme Court's Disciplinary Commission says Rokita is accused of violating professional conduct in regards to statements he made about Dr. Caitlin Bernard in an interview with Jesse Waters on Fox News. Bernard is the doctor who performed an abortion on a 10-year-old Ohio girl last year. Rokita has been investigated accommodating her. Layoffs have started at some plants throughout the U.S., a Ford plant in Michigan and the GM plant in Missouri among them, as negotiations continue between the UAW and Detroit's Big Three automakers. The UAW is on strike at some plants.
The reason we're in this situation right now is because all three of the Big Three companies chose to wait. They chose not to negotiate for the 8 weeks we had. We started this back in July, and we told them then, don't wait till the last minute or you're going to find yourself in a bad position.
UAW President Sean Fain. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Your Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Celebrate a fun 50s weekend in Grant County, Indiana, September 21st and 24th. Cruise over to the Ducktail Run in Gas City and the James Dean Run in Fairmount, two of the Midwest's coolest classic car shows. Honor the era of hot cars and cool cats and celebrate where cool was born. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana, classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Don't fall for the free furnace upcharge tricks. Get an honest, fair quote from Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer. Call themarshallnow.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
The phone number, if you'd like to contribute, 317-684-8444. It is time to hear from you, your voicemails with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
All right, so obviously the big news locally is that Hogsett is getting a divorce, and ultimately, I don't care about that. That's between him and his wife, outside of two things. Number one, where was he during the riots? And I'm sure she knows. So to me, it's like, hey, now you're free from this guy. Why don't you tell us where your husband was during the riots? Because he sure wasn't running the city. And two, in that statement, Hogsett basically made it very clear, the last several years have been such a strain on me and my wife and our family. And so your response to that was, I'm going to run for re-election again.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be uncontested.
Well, it has to be. There's no way she wants. I mean, it wouldn't come out before he's re-elected anyway. But no way. Yeah, Mrs. Hogsett wins 100% of all marital assets, right? If you're saying that being the mayor is more important than your wife and your family, I mean, that's kind of. I mean, again, you're the voice of reason here. Wasn't that in that statement what he was kind of copping to?
Yeah, but that they've been having well, he didn't even say they've been having problems. He said it's been a trying couple of years.
No kidding. It's been trying for all of us because of people like you. All right. So we got a phone call from somebody who purports, I have no reason to doubt this person, that they work for the city of Indianapolis. And I thought this phone call was interesting.
I've been in public safety here in Indianapolis for going on 10 years now. And this whole breaking news update, Mayor Hogsett's wife files for divorce, that's all just a bunch of bullshit. It's for sympathy votes because Hogsett knows that he's done this year. That's it. He needs sympathy. Luckily for his wife, she can throw in the towel and leave whenever she wants to, whereas the rest of us who have to deal with his bullshit, whether it be working for him, underneath him, owning a business here in Indianapolis that's been absolutely destroyed by lack of customers, not pulling in as much revenue because of the surrounding areas filled with homeless people shooting up heroin needles into their arms, literally, as people are walking in the door with their kids. We all have to remain here and deal with him. So I'm almost willing to bet the rest of the money I'll make this year that this was a planned thing for Hog to get some sympathy votes.
I don't know about that.
No.
I mean, he's not looking at polling going, oh boy, okay, Stephanie, now I need you to file for divorce so I look like the victim here.
Well, and again, he doesn't need sympathy because he's running against a complete zero in Jefferson Shreve. I mean, the Shreve campaign had an incredible opportunity to totally beat this guy into the dirt, and they have done none of the things necessary to separate himself from Joe Hogsett. In fact, in many cases, such as going after law-abiding gun owners, he's totally lined up with Hogsett. I mean,
it's the same picture.
Shreve has spent most of his campaign basically lining up with Hogsett on stupid stuff that isn't going to work or is unconstitutional or unlawful, and apologizing for a Republican's position on abortion. I mean, it's just like it's the worst campaign imaginable run by a guy who had infinite resources. But this is what happens when you listen to these Marion County establishment people, and Joe Hogsett should be vulnerable. But he's not, because Jefferson Shreve is a terrible candidate.
Well, and you know what? He said the same thing that I had said earlier, that, she can leave him and we're going to still be stuck with him to a point. They do have children together. And anybody who's been married with children knows that, well, once that happens, you're together in some form.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It's interesting. I did an interview over the weekend with the Washington Post.
Yeah.
And they're working on a story on public safety in large cities across America, how people are leaving. They're not coming back in many cases. They're focusing, I think, much of the story on Indianapolis, and was talking with the reporter who is from here. She grew up just literally right down the road. We didn't know this until we started talking from where I grew up. And we're similar in age, not exactly the same age, but close enough. And we were talking about how much the city has changed compared to when we were younger, and how, hey, Indianapolis used to be the kind of place where you could rip-roar into downtown, you could have yourself a grand old time, and then you could, with a reasonable degree of expectation, I will get out in one piece. And the thing I told her is, I said, for me and many other people, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. Bart Peterson had a lot of issues. He did a markedly better job with public safety than Joe Hogsett has done, and they're both Democrats. So to me, Greg Ballard, for all the issues I had with him, did a much better job with public safety than Joe Hogsett has done. Mm-hmm. I think that's what gives such credit to many of us who are critical of Hogsett, is it's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It's this guy sucks at his job thing. This guy's not very good at his job, and he's not serious about cleaning the city up, and he has time and again badmouthed the police and told the criminals basically the city's open for business. So to bring this full circle, the only thing I want to know with Hogsett as it relates to all of this, from his wife,
where were you?
Where were you during the riots? Just tell us where he was, and that is my interest in all of this. Otherwise, I could care less.
Well, Hogsett didn't want a public safety director. He said he could do the job himself. Clearly, he's not doing it well, and you're saying that in some cases this isn't the policy, it's the person.
Yeah, no, I think it's 100% the person. And I told the reporter this. I said, it will not get. I said, think about where we were at during the primary. We were like, hey, everyone should vote for Robin Shackelford because anybody but Hogsett. I said, that's on the Democrat side because she might not be great, but she can't be any worse than him.
Right.
Got to get rid of this guy. All right, remember Friday, we did the story about that place in Oregon.
Epic Healing Eugene.
Yeah.
Is what it's called.
They're somehow through state law, you can now consume psychedelics.
It's America's first licensed psilocybin service center.
Yes, and
magic mushrooms.
When I asked Kev during the break before we did this segment, I said, Kev, how do you say this word? And I started spelling it. I got about 3 letters in, and he started shouting aggressively at me, psilocybin, psilocybin, psilocybin,
I
idiot.
knew exactly where you were going.
Yeah, exactly. Kev really perked up, and we got in a long conversation about great spices and dainty treats of the world, and various other things, and we were kind of blown away that this state now has just a hey, do drop in, no need to hide your goodies in under your mattress.
The center has a wait list of more than 3,000 people.
I bet it does.
It.
Yes,
it includes people with depression, PTSD, and end of life dread that they're trying to help.
So we got a phone call about this.
Hey, how y'all doing? I was just listening to a segment where you guys were talking about microdosing, and my son is actually going to IU right now. He's studying psychopharmacology, and the interesting thing about these type of drugs, and just for clarity, I've never taken them, they actually are being used to heal the mind rather than be on like a depression medicine for the rest of your life. These drugs here are designed to actually bring about healing and more well-being. It's a very interesting field. As a matter of fact, because of my son, I invested in a stock called Cybin, C-Y-B-I-N, and I think it's C-Y-B-N on the ticker, but that's neither here or there. And so I kind of follow the studies that they're doing with the patients and stuff, and it's a very interesting field. And this is from a person who never believed in drugs or anything like that. I've always believed that, you do things that are legal. And this is a very interesting field, and I'm hoping through this type of medicine, which it is a natural medicine, that they can, help people that are having, psychiatric events and people that are suffering from depression, anxiety, and it actually helps rewire your mind. It's fascinating, actually.
Well, congratulations to him and his son. You can tell that he's very proud of his son.
All right, Kev, I default to you. Is this guy full of it, or has he got a point?
He's 100% right.
Like, for real?
Yeah. I think it's unfortunate that mushrooms get lumped into this broad group of drugs. Like somehow it's lumped in with like crystal meth and all these terrible drugs. But no, it's natural, and it does have its benefits.
Okay, so I have a very, very, and I don't mean to be flippant when I'm asking this. I'm asking out of total naivety. I've never done drugs of any sort that are deemed illegal in the continental United States. Is a mushroom addictive like this other stuff? Like, can you get addicted to mushrooms?
Not like you could get addicted to like meth or something.
Yeah.
No, but it's definitely something you want to do in moderation. But it probably also depends on the person. Maybe some people are susceptible to becoming addicted, but I wouldn't say that it's an addictive drug.
Okay.
It's still illegal in the United States, although the FDA in 2018 designated it as breakthrough therapy. And in Colorado last year, the voters there passed a measure to allow it to be regulated starting next year.
I think I'm generally on everything. I mean, maybe not everything. But if we're going to license medical providers, that whatever choice you make between you and your medical provider, I mean, as long as it's not like some doctor selling scripts for profiteering, but if you and your licensed medical provider want to make a choice to do something, I think in about 99% of the cases, I'm 100% all right with that.
Well,
maybe 100%.
Here's the interesting thing about this place in Oregon, which started this story. It's not like mushrooms to go. It's not like in Michigan where you can do drive-through cannabis, or they'll run it out to your car after you order online. This service center, you have to stay there until the drug wears off.
Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah. I just think, hey, look, if we're going to license these people and say they're above reproach, then let's just let patients and people do what they want. What's
see
best,
where it leads?
Yeah, just see what's best for them. Why not? What business is it of mine? Especially like you said, it's not like Fred's getting out in a car after a microdose or whatever. And hey, now Fred's operating heavy machinery.
Yeah, it's in a controlled environment. It sounds like.
All right, Hammer's next. He has a big announcement, Casey.
Oh, right. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon. 3 until 7. Biggest stories in Indy. We'll recap the Colts game, and it's Moonshine Monday. 93 WIBC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0696. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0696. That's 800-583-0696. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Brett.
We did Galaxy for the sidewalks and also the porch. The porch had a few pits. Galaxy said that was no problem.
Home or business, Galaxy Concrete Coatings got you covered.
Obviously with the front sidewalk and step, so we didn't worry about any kind of slipping. You know, you're concerned about that after rain. And then when it did dry, it didn't spot, it didn't stain. It was just like it had been done yesterday.
Lots of styles to choose from. 4 times stronger than epoxy and a 15-year warranty.
It's one thing that my wife commented on was how easy the Galaxy coating swept versus just the bare concrete.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com now. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. And remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We're out of this world.
We moved here recently. I didn't even think twice about calling anyone else but Galaxy to come do this house.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
Join WIBC Wednesday, September 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the Radio 1 and Martin University Career Fair, supported by Quest Diagnostics. Get your foot in the door, have your resume reviewed by HR professionals, and get a free headshot. September 20th, 10 to 4 at Martin University. Details at WIBC.com.
Good morning. It is 10:47. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer joins us in the studio from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show. Good morning.
Good morning. And as many of you know, we opened up a merch store.
Oh, yes.
The Hammer and Nigel merch store. Now, it's a new store, so we had a few kinks early on, but I think we got things rolling now. So if you've made an order, it should either be being fulfilled or out being delivered right now.
Oh, exciting.
So thank you so much for supporting the Hammer and Nigel show. We're not making hardly any money off this thing because we're covering the shipping costs. We just want people to wear the gear.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows nobody else is going to advertise our show around here except for us. So with that being said, we thought we would branch out a little bit.
How exciting.
There are 2 new items to the Hammer and Nigel show merch store. Store.hammerandnigel.com. Don't put the wwws in there. It just makes things confusing.
So just
store.hammerandnigel.com. You can bring it up right now. The latest 2 editions. The I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt and the I Love Rob Kendall t-shirt.
Yes!
And Casey, you'll notice that both of these shirts, specifically the I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt, is in teacher red.
Angry red-shirted. I
so
love
now
it.
you can be an angry red-shirted teacher wearing the I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt, or you could show your affection to Rob Kendall.
How about both?
With the I Love Rob Kendall t-shirts.
Yeah.
It's a damn good looking shirt, especially the I Hate Rob Kendall. I mean, I'm getting one for myself just to wear to the show, and I'm ordering several I Hate Rob Kendalls for my wife as well, so that she can wear them around the house.
Do you have the descriptions?
I do.
Up, Miss Casey?
I love these. These are awesome. So this is the I Love Rob Kendall. Rob Kendall is the light of this world. He stands up for the common man and sticks it to those in power who want to see your money wasted on frivolity. Show us how much you support his mission with this fashionable I Love Rob Kendall tee. Bought one. And then for the other days, Rob Kendall is a major know-it-all blowhard who is cantankerous and obnoxious. Get the shirt to show the world how you really feel about Rob Kendall. I wonder which one I'll wear more often.
I can't wait to see the breakdown of sales.
Oh, yeah.
Like how many I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirts will be sold compared to how many I Love Rob Kendall.
And we want to see if you buy one of these, whichever one you buy, and you send it to me, even if you're Eric Holcomb, I will retweet you wearing either the I Hate or I Love Rob Kendall t-shirts. And quite frankly, I hope we sell more hates than loves, but we'll see where the dominoes fall.
I think I had the opportunity to actually wear both t-shirts in the same day.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Like whenever, the show starts, you could show support with the I Love Rob shirt.
Yeah.
And then about halfway through when he starts doing Rob Kendall things, you can rip it off like Hulkamania and have the I Hate Rob Kendall.
So store.hammerandnigel.com.
Feel free to put that out on your social media so people can buy.
I've got it. The I Hate Rob Kendall is now up at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. The link to purchase the I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt is...
What a great gift for the holidays. If you've got a teacher in your family, if you've got somebody that just can't stand the way Rob Kendall rips on Republicans.
I hate that guy.
Then you can buy an I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt. Or if you're somebody that's like, you know what? Rob says all the things that we want to say. He catches a lot of crap for it.
Yeah.
You can give Rob Kendall some support by buying the I Love Rob Kendall t-shirt.
Also, so I'm thinking like maybe I should get one for the Brownsburg superintendent and drop one off at his office.
Christmas gifts. Like, you should deliver I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirts to all of the people.
Yeah.
And just, put a little card in there.
Your best customer is going to be Rob Kendall.
Head of the Rob Kendall ordered 7,000 of his own shirts.
It's like Hunter Biden on his horrible book. Wow, it's the #1 bestseller. Who bought all the copies? Hunter Biden.
Look, and this is a feel-good moment, and you can see it all at Rob M. Kendall, maybe at Hammer and Nigel. Put it up here in a little bit as well. And let's go from feel-good to just terrible miscarriages of justice. You and I got screwed last night.
So we had the over on that Sunday night football game, the Dolphins at the Patriots. Should have been over anyway. 2 missed field goals, 2 turnovers in the red zone, but we still had a chance late in the game. Patriots are driving. We're within a minute. There's this amazing hook and ladder. It was like the final scene of Varsity Blues where Billy Bob catches the ball in the air and runs it in. The big fella for the Patriots catches the ladder. Is moving for the first down. I think he gets it.
Oh, he gets it. There's no thinking to it.
They go to the replay booth and they say no.
Yeah.
And that ends the drive killer.
It's great that they let Don Shula ref the game last night because Don Shula or Dan Marino or who's the Mercury Morris are about the only people who didn't see that guy getting the first down. I had the sound down, but obviously was watching intently. And, I texted you some things I can't say on this radio show thinking we had gotten that first down. And then what could those guys have been looking at? Officiating stinks in the NFL.
And give the big fella a break.
Yes!
Give the big guy with the ball the break. Because he had to pick up 2 or 3 yards, and by God, I thought he did.
The crowd would have erupted in applause, even if you didn't think he got it. The crowd would have erupted. It was a Patriots home game, for crying out loud.
There were some crazy bad beats in gambling this past weekend. Now, I had a pretty good weekend. I was 4-0 during the day section of college football. Casey, did your boy toy tail me in college football this weekend?
You know what? All I know is that he made a mistake bet. He was confessing up, and he said, I made a mistake. I was trying to make a $25 bet, and I made a $205 bet, which he lost.
Because when he loses on one of my bets, I hear it right away when I come in here. But when I'm undefeated during the day stretch, it's crickets in here. It's like church on Christmas.
Do you call Emily and say, sorry, you can't finish your senior year?
Right.
Christmas is canceled this year.
Exactly. But I got a I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirt.
But there were some bad breaks along the way. So if you were an over better in that Purdue-Syracuse game, kind of like the Patriots game, Purdue fumbles on the 1-yard line, getting ready to bring it in, couple turnovers in the red zone, couple missed kicks, and then late in the game, Syracuse, their quarterback has a wide open touchdown, but decides to just take the slide to run out the clock.
Casey, you'd kind of like betting the over because that way you can just cheer for everyone.
Right.
You don't have to pick. You don't have to pick a side.
Exactly.
You're cheering for all the players.
I cheer based on what color their uniform is.
Absolutely.
Imagine the Purdue better, Syracuse better that had the over. He's going to do it. He's going to run for a touchdown on the final play. And then he gets in the open field and just takes a slide to run out the clock.
That's where you need the recording of the lady on the plane. That MFer is not real.
It was Parents Weekend at Purdue this weekend, by the way.
Store.hammerandnigel.com. Get your I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirts or I Love Rob Kendall t-shirt. Perfect for the teacher in your house.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Monday Gun Day. Guy Relford's with us. Nigel's taking sick day number 850, and it is Moonshine Monday.
Thank you, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, Tamer and Nigel with more about Window Nation and more from Window Nation. When it comes to new windows, Window Nation always gives you more, but now they're giving you even more. The more windows you buy, the more you save, up to 50% off. It's another amazing deal on windows that deliver more for your home. More energy savings, more value, more features, more options, more beauty. And now, if you want more, you get more. Just call Window Nation at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Buy 5 to 10 windows and get 30% off. Buy 11 to 15 windows, get 40% off. And if you buy more than 15 windows or a house of windows, you will get 50% off. More than that, whatever size your order is, no money down, no payments, no interest for 2 years. So you got to call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Window Nation never leaves you wanting more. Window Nation, the perfect fit.
Stop right now and ask yourself, what is most important to you? Hey, this is Casey Weed at Howard Bailey Financial, the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. We believe in developing retirement plans driven by what is most important to you, your purpose. Then we can build what we call your financial life plan, made up of 4 main pillars: liquidity for emergencies, income to last a lifetime, flexibility to adapt, estate planning to maximize your legacy, and finally, tax planning to maximize what you can spend and pass on. To learn more about saving on your taxes, get your free digital tax guide. Just call or text TAX42 to 866-482-9559. That's TAX42 to 866-482-9559.
Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online, qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey Hoosiers, it's your Congressman Greg Pence. Let's get straight to the point. Joe Biden's policies are not working for the average Hoosier. Inflation is absolutely still out of control. I'm putting Hoosier values first. Promoting energy independence, opposing woke policies, and fighting for our families is my focus. To learn more about my efforts, go to pence.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Coming up in 2 minutes, he talked about the doctor. Now the Attorney General is facing charges from the state Supreme Court. Plus, who came up big for the Colts on Sunday? I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They've landed in Doha. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 5 Americans just freed this morning from Iran are on that plane. President Biden just put out a statement saying, as we celebrate, it's a reminder for Americans not to travel to Iran. Congressman Mike Waltz tells Fox.
My heart goes out to these families. I know several of these families, and they have been waiting for years as their loved ones have been chained to a prison.
Now, the U.S. is also freeing 5 Iranians jailed here and unfreezing $6 billion in Iranian assets that Waltz fears could be spent on terrorism and incentivize more Americans be detained.
This is the beginning of the next round of hostages.
There are reports that the $6 billion in once frozen funds has already been transferred to Qatar from Korea via Switzerland. The administration maintains that this is not a ransom payment because these are not U.S. taxpayer dollars.
That's Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the UN, where President Biden will address world leaders tomorrow. The president's son, Hunter, is suing the IRS, claiming he was targeted by 2 whistleblowers who allege Biden got preferential treatment during an investigation that led to a tax evasion plea deal a judge rejected in July. Now, the suit accuses them of
engaging in a campaign to publicly smear Mr. Biden. It goes on, in fact, a, quote, whistleblower is supposed to uncover government misconduct, not the details of that employee's opinion about the alleged wrongdoing of a private person.
Fox's David Spunt. A manhunt's over in California for the suspected killer who shot a Los Angeles sheriff's deputy in his patrol car on Saturday. Fox's William Lajeunesse reports from L.A.
A close relative of the suspect actually contacted the sheriff's department and shared details that allowed them to ID this young man as the likely shooter. And last night, the SWAT team gassed the suspect out of his home.
Another manhunt ended this morning in Pennsylvania with the capture of 9 juveniles who broke out of a detention center last night. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Rokita has been served. It's 63 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Attorney General Todd Rokita is being accused of professional misconduct by the state Supreme Court. The High Court has filed charges against Rokita in regards to statements that he made in an interview on Fox News about Dr. Caitlin Bernard. She's the doctor who performed an abortion on a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio last year. Rokita has a chance to respond to the charges, and after that, it will be decided if the case goes to a trial. The United Auto Workers strike is entering its first full week, and it hasn't affected Indiana yet, but Gary Dick with Inside Indiana Business says it's only a matter of time before that happens.
So the potential is there. If the Fort Wayne General Motors truck assembly plant, as an example, can't get parts, obviously they'll be impacted.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz that plants in Marion and Kokomo will also be hurt by the strike depending on how long it goes. A fire destroyed a historic train station in Bedford on Sunday. Firefighters were called to the Monon station just before 3 a.m. Sunday morning. They arrived to find flames shooting up out of the old train station, which is now a total loss. It's not clear how the fire started. Recruitment in the U.S. military is down in recent years. Indiana's Congressman Jim Banks says he knows why.
I believe that wokeism is driving people away who would have formerly wanted to serve in our military.
Speaking at the Pray Vote Stand Summit in Washington, Banks also criticized President Biden for downplaying the threat that China poses to the U.S. last week. The running game was virtually non-existent last week for the Indianapolis Colts. Zach Moss returned from a broken arm that he's been dealing with and had 88 yards rushing and a touchdown, and the Colts win over Houston.
You know, Zach Moss, the reliable intent player of the game. He was awesome.
Thank goodness for Zach Moss, because for the day he made us forget about all this crap with Jonathan Taylor.
Fans talking to the Bell Tire Radio Network. Next up for the Colts are the Baltimore Ravens on the road. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
QC Kinetics is not exaggerating when they say this. QC Kinetics can change your life. You can live again without chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all of that horrible pain. And unlike surgery, there's no downtime with QC treatments. If you have constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back, you need to call and get a free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics today. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. Call QC Kinetics right now. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics is in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Saturday night at Anderson Speedway. It's the Madison County 200. Celebrating Madison County's bicentennial. Come see why everyone's saying, I'd rather be at Anderson Speedway. This hour is powered by Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealers serving Central Indiana.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 18th. It's 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Thank you so much for joining us. His name is Rob Kendall. He's on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. I'm there too, Casey Daniels 317. And of course, we're both on YouTube right now. Type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get into this. We're going to do an in-depth thing tomorrow with Abdul because it's like the lead story in the news, and it wasn't on our template, obviously, because it came down today, but we would be doing a disservice to our audience. And, well, a disservice to myself if I didn't get to opportunity to point at Todd Rokita like Nelson Muntz on The Simpsons and go, ha ha. So the Indiana Supreme Court, so lawyers, everybody's going to laugh when I say this, lawyers in the state of Indiana are technically held to a higher standard than regular people. I know, chuckle here, right? Everybody, ha ha ha, yeah, right. And as a result, they sort of have their own little governing body. Now, it's not a criminal court. It's not a civil court in the sense of like they're not issuing, multi-million-dollar fines in most cases, but they do monitor your ability to have a law license. And if you engage in behavior that is, I'm just making up terminology here. I'm trying to simplify a very complex thing. If you engage in behavior that's unbecoming of what you are supposed to be as a lawyer, they can issue disciplinary action against the person. And people may remember the last Attorney General, Curtis Hill, for which Todd Rokita ripped him up one side of the state and back down the other, went through the same disciplinary action related to the alleged behavior that took place in the bar. You may recall that Curtis Hill was not, there were no charges ever filed against Curtis Hill criminally. He was cleared of any ethics violations. The civil case against him was they were all thrown out, I believe. But this higher standard that attorneys are held to, he was, for lack of a better term, convicted on that, and his law license was, I believe, suspended for one month, and that was used against him when he ran for re-election by Rokita and others. And they said, well, this behavior is so unbecoming, we can't put him back out on the ballot. Well, now this same group, this Indiana Supreme Court, there are charges against Todd Rokita. The disciplinary commission is what they're called. And they are saying that he broke the rules of professional conduct, he being Rokita, by publicly discussing the case against Dr. Caitlin Bernard. Now, Caitlin Bernard is that very, very radically left abortion doctor who performed the abortion on the 10-year-old girl from Ohio, and then went and couldn't flap her gums about it fast enough. And remember at the time, Casey,
you went on Fox News, right?
And if you remember at the time, I'm no attorney, I just play one on the radio. I said that is bad behavior from the Attorney General to go out and discuss this case. Look, if he wants to file action against this lady and he believes the law has been broken or any ethical whatever has been broken related to her license as a medical doctor, okay, great, let's hear it. But the fact that Rokita sprinted to Fox News to discuss this case, did I or did I not at the time, Casey, say that is behavior unbecoming of the Attorney General? Because the Attorney General in the state of Indiana is supposed to be the chief law enforcement officer. And that is why I've always said Todd Rokita is the last person who should be attorney general for the state of Indiana, because Rokita is wholly political before everything else. And that is the last thing you should want from the attorney general. The same way we get mad on the left with like Letitia James in New York going after Trump, we shouldn't want it on the right either. The attorney general should be straight down the middle, chief law enforcement officer. If you broke the law, great, we're coming after you. If you didn't, we're not going to make stuff up because it's political. And Rokita is so political. And I say this is someone who agrees with a lot of Rokita's politics, but it doesn't mean I want him as attorney general. And now he's in the same hot water, different reason, but the same. He's going to have to go basically in front of the same group of people that Curtis Hill did. And if he gets convicted, for lack of a better term on this, now again, they're not throwing him in jail. He could lose his law license, etc. That's the worst that could happen. Doesn't he have to resign because he went after Curtis Hill for the exact same stuff?
Hey, Pot, this is Kettle. You're black. Is this, do you think, in retaliation for him putting that lawsuit against IU Health?
No, I think Rokita's a dumbass. And Rokita is wholly political. And man, Casey, you know how I hate to come on these airwaves, which you can hear from Ohio to Illinois and all points in between, and point out how right I was. But you were here. Kev was here. You were witnesses to this. I am not an attorney. I'm not anywhere close to an attorney. But did I or did I not, from the moment he went on Fox News, come on and say, he may not be wrong what he's saying, but he's going about it the dead wrong way.
So who's filing a suit against him?
It's this disciplinary commission. So they are kind of the facts get presented to them. It's just sort of like it's like a prosecutor. It's like anything else. I mean, again, it is not a criminal proceeding. Todd Rokita is not going to be behind bars. And the worst thing that'll probably happen to him, which I believe was what happened to Curtis Hill.
They'll suspend his license for a time.
Yeah, in the case of Curtis Hill, it was a month, and he kept being attorney general. And then as soon as that was over, he went back. But it just the irony of all of this. And in the case of both of these guys, it's really a lack of self-control. Two different things, and just terrible decision-making. You know my opinion on Rokita. This guy's a total ding-dong. He has no business being attorney general. I like a lot of his politics, but he's way too political in the position he's in. He's always looking for headlines for what he believes is the next political win instead of doing his damn job. And he really, in many ways, tainted the whole thing with this Dr. Caitlin Bernard, because she may have done things that warranted Rokita moving forward against her. But the fact that it's Rokita and he's sprinting to Fox News before doing the thing just tainted the whole thing, and I was totally 100% right, as I almost always am.
Well, I think it's interesting because on Friday he filed a lawsuit against IU Health and IU Healthcare Associates, and because of that, the doctor and the 10-year-old case, he said nobody gave anybody authorization to speak about this publicly. So he's filing this suit claiming it violated HIPAA laws, and now they're turning around doing some disciplinary action against him for doing the same exact thing going on Fox.
Rokita is a doofus, and he's a goof, and he's a weirdo. And by the way, Todd, and I know you're still flapping your gums to people about me at these Lincoln Day dinners. And Todd's favorite thing, and I think he said this on Hammer and Nigel, because, Todd's a big tough guy when you're not in the room, right? He's the worst type of guy because, well, he's a big tough guy. Last year when we were at the Lincoln Day, he walked right past me and didn't say a word to me. But when he's at these events, and by the way, Todd, remember, when you run your gums, most people really like me, and they actually think you're a doofus and a weirdo, and they're going to tell me what you say. His favorite phrase now is, Rob's like a jilted lover. Right. No, Todd, because a jilted lover would mean I want to be around you. I don't want to be around you. I'd love for nothing more than you to just go away and never be seen or heard from again. I'm the exact opposite of a jilted lover. And you put your foot in your mouth because you have no self-control, and you tainted, which would be an easy slam dunk, and now look at where you are.
Yeah. It is 13 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about some polling. About a third of U.S. U.S. registered voters surveyed said that they think that President Biden would finish a second term if he was reelected. So this is only about 34% of people say if he were to win, he would finish out his term. And this is from CBS News and YouGov. And 44% said that he would probably leave office before the end of his second term.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Can you ever remember? Okay, let's think like in modern history, whether you liked the president or not. I'm not talking about like politically, do you like the person? I'm saying just the polling would be, let's take the past 40 years. So Reagan, I don't think there was any doubt when he was running for re-election, he was going to serve 4 more years. Bush, who didn't win, but I don't think there was any doubt he was mentally and physically capable of serving 4 more years. Certainly Clinton won and did. Bush won and did. Obama won and did. I don't think anybody thought, hey, Trump's not going to be around 4 more years when he was running for re-election. This is uncharted territory where 2/3 of America does not think the guy running for re-election
is fit enough to finish that second term.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 55% said they think Trump would finish. Like, there's not a huge age difference between these two. There's only, 3 years? And yet, one guy is, giving people confidence, 55% saying, yeah, he's good enough to finish. And the other guy, people are saying, nah, probably not so much. So there's another poll that's out, and it says that Donald Trump leads President Biden by 1 point. Boy, this is a close head-to-head competition.
Isn't it an indictment on both of them, though? That Trump is only beating...
I think it's a bigger indictment on Biden.
Is it, though? I mean, you've got a guy who the majority of Americans overwhelmingly don't think is mentally or physically capable of finishing his second term, and only 1% more of said Americans say, yeah, we want the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the other guy who's got multiple indictments against him?
Again, if you won't listen to what the public is telling you, then you probably shouldn't be bitching if the public does what they have told you. And what the public is telling you on both sides of the aisle, Democrats or Republicans, we do not want these two to have to make a choice between these two people. We are begging you, if you're Democrats, anybody but Biden. We are begging you, if you're the Republicans, anybody but Trump. I don't know how many polls you have to see it in. They're all saying the exact same thing. And basically, first side to listen will win the election.
Okay, so Michigan is likely to be one of the most hotly contested states in this election. Now, you recall Trump got it in 2016, but then they flipped to Biden in 2020. And right now, this is a new Susquehanna poll. They said that Biden is leading Trump by only 3 points, but this is almost within the error of margin. So again, even in Michigan, tied.
But why would you want to subject yourself to any oh, it's so close? But why would you I continue to ask this question. I mean, we talked about it last hour when we played those Trump comments on abortion, where he basically condemned Ron DeSantis and other governors and legislators who have passed pro-life policy. He basically condemned those people. And I continue to ask this question to the Trump voter. What is it about Trump? I mean, he's for bigger government. I mean, I'm just going by his own words and actual policies. Mm-hmm. He's for bigger government. He's for printing unlimited amounts of money. He is pro-mask mandate. He is pro-vaccine. He, clearly is mad about pro-life policies. Why is this guy the guy that you're dying on the hill for? It just policy-wise doesn't add up to me, but it is what it is.
So we heard Donald Trump mention Ron DeSantis and how he was in 4th place in some polls. And as it turns out, that was a South Carolina poll. And Trump was not exaggerating, actually, for once. He was being honest about this. In this South Carolina poll, they've got Trump in 1st place, and then followed by Nikki Haley and then Tim Scott, which you would expect. They're both from South Carolina. So, of course, that's not going to be an easy place for Ron DeSantis to make headway, but he's only at 9%.
Yeah, you say this though, Casey, but Abdul reported last week that there some sort of internal polling going on. They think it's from the Trump campaign that apparently showed in Indiana. They did some polling here, and it's Trump's at 55, DeSantis at 15, and then well behind both of them is Pence. So it's not the automatic, hey,
it's your home state.
Yeah, of course the guy's going to be. Well, apparently it's not happening Here, there is just something about Ron DeSantis that does not connect with regular people, and you have seen it multiple times with Republicans where these idealistic, in name only candidates, whether it was Fred Thompson or Rick Perry, they get out there and they just don't connect, and then you lose the window of people's imagination, and they're moving on to somebody else.
And then it's gone.
Yeah.
It is 19 after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
That didn't take long. A Night with WIBC, brought to you by Relay Indiana, is once again sold out. One night only. Tony Katz.
I avoid the use of the words dumb and stupid.
Kendall and Casey.
Just strapping you in.
Go for it.
Hammer and Nigel.
Loud, it's chaotic.
And special guests. It'll be informative. It'll be funny. It won't be PC. Didn't get your tickets? Register and win the few we have left online at WIBC.com.
Hey, JMV here with Lance Smith, owner of LD Smith Plumbing. And Lance, what's that on your shirt?
Well, I just helped pull out 50 feet of old sewer line and installed a new water heater. Oh, and I just ate some chocolate pudding, too.
So that could be mud, chocolate, or...
I guess so.
Oh, no, Lance. We're out of here. Let Lance and his heroes handle all of your plumbing problems. They're truly dirty, stinking honest. LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Your fireplace is the heart of your home, warming your family and creating cherished memories. But did you know that your fireplace needs annual maintenance?
At Chimney Solutions, our CSIA certified technicians perform full chimney inspections, checking for gaps and cracks in the liner system. We check for air quality issues in the home, as well as potential fire hazards in the chimney system.
Don't compromise on the safety and well-being of your home. Trust the experts at Chimney Solutions to care for your fireplace and your chimney.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
I'm attorney Daryl Isaacs, the Hammer. When someone you love is the victim of a wrongful death, it's a terrible tragedy. At Isaacs & Isaacs, we're ready to get your loved one the justice they deserve. There are strict time limits to file a wrongful death claim, so please go to WeWin.com today.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The question, is Rob just young, inexperienced, and naive, or more troubling, is he a fool who has no idea what the hell he's doing?
21 minutes after 11, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Hunter Biden has filed a lawsuit in Washington. It's in a federal court against the IRS. His attorneys are saying that the whistleblowers were campaigning just to embarrass and inflict harm on him. I don't know about that. There's a new poll that did come out. It's a Reuters poll, and it shows Americans' attitudes towards the Biden impeachment inquiry. 41% support it, 35% oppose it, and 24% are unsure. So how could you be unsure about this? You either have an opinion or you don't.
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of things where people go, I have no opinion. Like, how could you not know at this point whether you want Biden to be reelected or not? I mean, how could you be on the fence about it? It's just, it is.
You know what?
It
Maybe
is.
it's just people that are uninformed. I was texting a friend of mine the other day, and they said, "Hey, what's new?" And I said, "Well, Kevin McCarthy's approving the impeachment inquiry." They replied back, "Oh, I didn't know that." I thought, "Wait, what? How can you not know that?"
every day. And I said, well, you like us because we hate everyone equally. And, he kind of laughed and nodded in agreement. We were talking about, why someone of his political persuasion would listen. And he was ripping on Hogsett. And he was saying, man, we got to get Hogsett out of here. And I thought that was an interesting statement for somebody like him to make, because it shows people are just looking for someone, like someone to believe in, someone to stand up for them, someone to speak the truth in normal people English and do something about what's happening in this country. They don't even care anymore, Casey, whether it's Democrat, Republican. I think most people are with us. They hate all the people equally, and they're just looking for someone who will stand up for them, stand up for what's right. And if that person happens to have a D next to their name, fine. If the person happens to have an R next to their name, fine. They don't even care anymore.
I think that you have just touched on why so many people love Donald Trump. They're just looking for someone to believe in. I mean, he's a billionaire. He does not lead the same lifestyle as you, but he does have that touchstone of many people believe in him. If they do it to him, they'll do it to you.
And that's a great, you're probably 100% right. And we've read emails and letters that have said that. But does the policy not matter? Does the result not matter? And I always love we always get this on the YouTube chat whenever we are critical of Trump. Well, Rob, you were so nice to Trump for all these years. We have been so clear on this a gajillion times, and we were clear on it a gajillion times while he was president, and people just don't listen. But hey, we got time to kill here. It's just us gals. We'll do it again. I liked Trump when he ran, and there is a million different audio clips of me saying this, and this show, and the show with the other blonde lady, and then the show when there were the two women, and show I had before that. Not because I thought Trump was going to be a great president. Not because I thought Trump was going to be some person who altered the course of America. I believed and was proven correct that Trump would pull the mask back on what our government actually is and how horrifically awful and corrupt and evil our government is. So by that standard, he was a success. I'm not in business for that this time because people now have seen what it is. I'm in the results business.
Now you want someone who will govern.
And I didn't think with any of the people out there was actually going to get that other than Rand Paul, and he was out very quickly. And so after that, it was an easy choice for me. Trump, there's nothing Trump did in his first term in office. Look, his judges were fine and very good. But when you hear him basically throw under the bus the thing that he did that was the best of them all, which is appoint justices who returned Roe back to the states and allowed states to pass legislation on abortion or other issues that make sense for them. What are we doing here? Like, there's nothing about Trump I look at. And Casey, do you know what Trump's plan is for the next 4 years?
I know he said drill, baby, drill.
Okay, we're there. What else?
I mean, when we're talking, for me, I want somebody who's going to talk economy. And it's been Mike Pence who's been talking the most about it recently. But with Trump, he says drill, baby, drill.
That's it?
Yeah.
What is his plan on tax reform? Do you know?
No.
What is his plan on how he's going to complete the border wall? Do you know?
No.
What is his actual plan to solve Ukraine?
I mean, is he going to reinstate remain in Mexico?
What is his actual plan on? We know he claims he'll solve it in 6 hours, but what is the plan on Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah, well, it'll be done in 24 hours.
Yeah, nobody knows anything. He has spent the past. He had 2.5 years, 3 years now. He should have the most concrete, ironclad, here's how we fix America plans, and that's all he goes out and talks about. Instead, he just talks about the same crap every time, and it is not stuff on how your life is going to be better, and that is why poll after poll after poll shows that American people are begging the Republicans not to force them to make a choice between Trump and Biden, and yet it appears that's the path we're going to go down.
It's 27 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up, COVID and your allergies. Boy, the symptoms are very similar. We have a couple voicemails, and also, to your surprise, Drew Barrymore. She was in the news over the weekend.
Oh, boy.
She apologized. She's doing the talk show. She's not doing the talk show. She apologized. She's not, whatever. We'll get into that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Electric vehicles are here to stay. And if you're looking for an electric vehicle, Andy Moore Ford is your EV headquarters. More selection. Get to Andy Moore Ford to shop the Mach-E, the E-Transit, the F-150 Lightning in stock, and more arriving daily. Save more at the pump when you switch to an Andy Moore Ford EV. Say hello to more rebates with federal federal and state incentives, you could save more. How's over $7,500 sound to you? But the benefits don't end there. Purchasing an EV with Andy Moore means you can take advantage of excellent services like more to your door, more peace of mind. With over a decade of experience in selling and servicing electric vehicles, Andy Moore Ford's EV experts are here to answer all of your questions, from sales to service, parts to maintenance. Check out Andy Moore Ford. Find them in Plainfield at 2713 East Main Street, 2713 East Main Street. Andy Moore Ford. Andy Moore, M-O-H-R. AndyMooreFord.com. That's AndyMooreFord.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The charges against him. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Charges have been filed against Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. The state Supreme Court's disciplinary commission says that Rokita is accused of violating professional conduct in regards to statements that he made about Dr. Caitlin Bernard in an interview on Fox News. Bernard is the doctor who performed an abortion on a 10-year-old Ohio rape victim last year. Rokita has been investigating her. He has a chance to respond to the charges. The UAW strike is already impacting some parts of the economy. Ford and GM have already announced layoffs because of the strike. Gary Dick with Inside Indiana Business says Indiana auto plants could start feeling the squeeze.
And if the strike goes on, and there are lots of indications that it's not going to get solved anytime soon.
Talking to WIBC's Tony Katz. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Nigel here. My sidewalk and front porch were falling apart and needed completely replaced. I was just going to go with basic, regular, generic concrete that looked the same as before, but my wife, thankfully, was like, And she showed me the Indie Decorative Concrete website, and I was completely blown away at what they could do in terms of taking a basic sidewalk and porch and turning it into a custom stamped concrete area with more space and an absolutely awesome, unique look. Indie Decorative Concrete is locally owned. They don't use subcontractors. Check them out at IndieDecorativeConcrete.com.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Ready for some high-energy excitement and fun? Head to Jonesboro, Indiana, September 21st to 24th for the Jonesboro River Rally. Amazing stunt bike riders, a cool bike show, fun field events, cool light show, and rockin' live bands all weekend long. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Don't fall for the free furnace upcharge tricks. Get an honest, fair quote from Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer. Call themarshallnow.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It is 11:32. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Drew Barrymore issued a groveling on-air apology. This is for continuing her CBS talk show, The Drew Barrymore Show. While she had 3 unionized writers who were on strike, she still refused to halt production. And then she came out with this apology saying she really didn't mean to hurt anybody.
I believe there's nothing I can do or say in this moment to make it okay. I wanted to own a decision so that it wasn't a PR protected situation. And I would just take full responsibility for my actions. I know there's just nothing I can do that will make this okay for those it is not okay with.
Okay, so she was planning to bring her show back on September 18th despite picketers outside her studio. Here's something that I found interesting about this whole situation. So her show on CBS is classified under the entertainment division, whereas other shows like The View on ABC, they're the news division. And that is what allows them to keep going with their production. If only Drew Barrymore's show was classified under the news segment of CBS, she wouldn't have to do this apology or anything.
You know, Drew Barrymore should have just given it up after she was Julia Gulia in The Wedding Singer, because that was when she was at her most likable. And Drew Barrymore is an example of a person who has managed to go from the public perception of you as this very endearing American sweetheart woman to insufferable sea hag. I mean, she just, gosh, I mean, just talk about just a total change in opinion from the roles she used to play and the, you know, kind of just, oh my gosh, if every woman were like Drew Barrymore, all marriages would be so happy and wonderful and there'd be no one would ever end unhappily. And my gosh, she is just like, I just wanted to stab myself in the ear having to listen to that 20 seconds or whatever it was.
Okay, so she's like a grown woman who's still trying to sell her childlike qualities, but she lost it for me when she got on bended knee and praised Dylan Mulvaney.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so the UAW thing is going on.
Speaking of more strikes.
Still, right? And it's in the throes, and we got a lot of phone calls about this. And so I wanted to just pull a couple of your voicemails that I thought really kind of captured maybe the sentiment. I mean, obviously there's some conflicting views and people have a variety of opinions and they're not all exactly aligned, but I thought as a whole, this was kind of these two voicemails, what the theme of the phone calls were.
Hey guys, this is Trucker Greg. I just got done hearing Trucker John's comments on the union, and I agree with him. I mean, I'm sure he does the same. We work pretty hard, and the company that I work for, they take good care of me. But I've dealt with the union pretty much all my life up until a while back. But my dad worked for the union. Every time they'd go on strike, he'd have to find another job, a full-time job, because he wasn't getting any pay. And then when I was 18, I worked for a company that was it was called No Frills. It was an Aldi's before its time. And every month I would have to pay union dues, and I would owe them money because I was part-time and only put in 16 hours a week. So I think maybe unions had their place 40, 50 years ago when they were, talking about safety and everything, but they've kind of went out a little bit too far, and they just expect way too much. And I understand, they're wanting a raise and everything, but to ask for only 32 hours a week, and that just doesn't sound right. But anyway, love you guys. I'm on my way back from New York, and I listen to you every day when 9 o'clock comes on, no matter where I'm at. So you guys take care.
Thank you for that. And look, again, everybody's free to be in a union that wants to be. If you work for a company that allows that and you have that, nobody's saying you can't. We're just simply saying, and again, voicemail after voicemail kind of echoes this, that the UAW workers are not coming off as sympathetic figures in this, because people look at that and go, dude, I got to work 40 hours a week. Why don't you have to work 40 hours a week?
Well, and they rejected Stellantis' 21% increase offer because it didn't meet their 40% increase demands.
Yeah, it's a hard sell, and people can be mad at me for saying this. I am telling you right now, as the lady on the plane would say, where the public as a collective is, and they're seeing 20% plus pay increases being turned down and going, seems like a pretty good deal to me.
I might take that if I were you.
Okay, another voicemail about this.
So I'm in Teamsters 135 here in Indianapolis, and let me tell you, they suck. Absolutely horribly. I've been in the union it'll be 24 years in November, and they have not done diddly. I guess I'll have to keep that clean. So the only thing that we have through the union is we get paid overtime over 8 hours. We have no pension, no nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, this union is as worthless as the union that we used to have. So anyway, guys, have a great weekend. See you.
And again, it's a different, organization, but I think sometimes people get so wed to the idea of winning, they don't take a win when it's handed to them. And by winning, I mean you have to get all you want or 90% you want, when if somebody's willing to say, here's 70% of what you want. And again, to come back to where a lot of the sentiment was, that's where the people are. They're looking at this going, you've been offered a pretty good deal and you deserve money for working hard, as do all Americans. But when you are, and the perception is that they are doing this, they are utilizing the UAW, their ability to affect millions of jobs that aren't their own. And I'm talking about the 6 jobs that depend on, for every one UAW job, there's 6 jobs that work around that. It seems like you're almost holding those jobs hostage to get everything that you want. And people are not happy about that.
Yeah. And the longer it goes on, we'll see how much they're worth.
Yeah. And by the way,
Same thing with the writer's strike.
Don't forget, you can say profit this, profit that all you want. And I see Matt put this in the chat. I don't want to spend $2,000 more on a new car. People are going to pay more for their cars. It's always like, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax the corporations. They're just going to pass it on to you, idiots. It's not like they're going to go, well, we'll just make $2,000 less a car, or, whatever the number is. People are going to pay more because of this. Yeah. You can say you're on these guys' side all you want. And it doesn't mean they do or don't deserve a raise, whatever. But the reality is you are going to pay more for an automobile as a result of this. If you're okay with that, then fine. But it's not some altruistic method here where it's a zero-sum game where you don't get affected in the process.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're on their side or not on their side, because everybody is going to be paying more.
That's
because of
point.
that decision.
That is 100% my point. All right, Casey.
Yeah.
When we come back, something is happening in California that is one of the most egregious things I have seen in a very long time. And for once, it's not even the government's fault. Some mall in California
has already put out the Christmas decorations and it's only September.
Not just the decorations, entire displays with elves and Santas and dancing Kris Kringles.
Where are we at Christmas decorations in September?
Oh, we'll get into it coming up from 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, we're not going to have a government shutdown unless, of course, we have a government shutdown. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
How would you like to free up some serious cash? Or at the very least, cut your monthly payments by $1,000 or so each month? Hey, what's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel Show. People are doing that every day with Loan Pronto's all-new Equity Express line of credit. Listen, your home value is way up, and Loan Pronto can help you access the equity without touching your primary mortgage. You can get tens of thousands out with very little paperwork and usually without an appraisal. With Loan Pronto, you can get $50,000 or $100,000 out right now. Pay off all of those 27% interest credit cards or your personal loans. For every $10,000 of debt that you consolidate, you can cut your monthly payments by nearly $500. Stop paying insane credit card rates. Call Loan Pronto right now. 317-953-6525. 317-953-6525 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Is joint pain, soreness, and achiness getting in the way of your best life? Football legend Emmitt Smith refuses to back down to pain. That's why he's a huge advocate for QC Kinetics and their natural approach to getting you relief.
Look, we get one trip around, so I wouldn't ever let pain stop me from hanging out with my race team, traveling with my family, or golfing with my friends.
Emmitt's got it right. And QC Kinetics uses regenerative medicine to relieve that never-ending pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. And the best news, there's nothing foreign being introduced into your body. Just your own body's natural healing properties. No surgery or no downtime.
If pain's holding you back, maybe it's tennis, pickleball, running, hiking, or spending time with special people in your life, what are you waiting for? This is precious time. Get out there and get over to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first. And then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Monday, September 18th is the final day for our Smith Brothers Blowout Sale. Made in Indiana, lifetime warranty, custom order, and free delivery. Save 50% off plus an extra 20% off when you pay cash. The best furniture at the lowest price ever from Smith Brothers of Bern, only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Sale ends Monday, September 18th.
The most anticipated rock holiday tradition returns. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert, December 26th. 2 shows, Cambridge Fieldhouse. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster. A legendary blend of rock, classical, and holiday music for the entire family. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestras, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO, and more.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online, qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Royal Spa.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%.
Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Tonight down on Union Street, I'm thinking back, baby, you and me.
93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. Rob, I don't know if you've been in a store lately.
Oh, all the time. You know, I don't shop at all on the internet, Casey.
Yeah, well, have you seen any Christmas decorations up already?
I have not, though I did see this next story, and I said, this has you all over it, because I went back and forth on this, because on one hand, you seem like the sort of person who would be absolutely outraged at Christmas decorations being up in September. However, on the other hand, you're also a mom and a woman.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that thinks you would say, oh, this is just wonderful.
Okay, so there's the Southern California mall that has put up Christmas displays in September, and a lot of people are really upset about this. So I was at Tippecanoe Mall over the weekend up in Lafayette doing a little shopping, and I did not see any Christmas displays there.
Nothing.
However, 2 weeks ago, no cap, 2 weeks ago, Costco had all the Christmas stuff out. And I thought, okay, they're selling stuff, right? They had the Christmas trees, the inflatables, all of that. They're trying to help people get prepared. That's different than the actual displays.
Yeah, you're talking about like if you are in, okay, so there's a mall in Southern California, which is the reason we're doing this story, that already has, it's like Christmas season at the mall in Southern California.
Yeah, like they have dancers and the elves and they're dressed up already.
Yeah, all of this is complete crap. Whether you're selling stuff or you're on display, September is not Christmas time. Casey, you're a little more seasoned than me, but I remember as a boy, it seemed like the Christmas stuff started the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And this was not all that long ago that I was a small child, and maybe my memory is failing me, though I don't think it is, because you just nodded in agreement that the Christmas season started, the shopping season, the whatever, the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's You'll see it in October.
It's not even Halloween
Yeah.
yet, and people are already putting up decorations. Okay, now I get Thanksgiving weekend. You want to put the lights out and everything,
Sure.
maybe a little warmer. Snow hasn't quite hit yet.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the long weekend, put up the tree, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and then Black Friday. People do a lot of the shopping, try to get the savings, right? And it just keeps creeping up earlier and earlier. And now it's not even Halloween. It's like, what are we doing? Are we doing like Halloween Christmas decorations, which are completely at odds with each other, by the way? I'm not on board with this at all, Rob. I don't care if it's man, woman, no matter how old, young you are. No, you need to wait. Just give it a minute for the Christmas decorations.
Do you do Christmas presents in your house?
Yeah.
You
of
do?
course.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, for years I've done the shopping for
Sure,
everybody.
absolutely.
It gets smaller and smaller
Yeah.
as daughter gets older.
Well,
and
because she's a
older.
grown-ass woman now.
Right, exactly. And now she actually should go buy Christmas gifts for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than me buy them for myself and wrap them up and put her name on it.
We don't do gifts in my house, and this has made it very, very easy. Like when I became, in my house, when I kind of became the de facto heir to the Kindle throne, whatever that is. How in the movie Vacation, where it's like, it's your turn, Clark, to read the story. This is probably my mid-20s. I just said, no more gifts. Don't want Christmas presents of any sort. This is about Jesus,
right?
And so we don't do Christmas presents. We don't do birthday presents. If something's going on throughout the year and you want something, you get it.
Go get it.
Because it's just, there's nothing I need, Casey.
Yeah.
You have seen the lifestyle I live.
Yeah.
Anything somebody gets me, I mean, while the sentiment is wonderful,
you don't need stuff.
I just don't. It's just like, I feel like we have entered a culture where we are getting something for the sake of
just getting
it.
Okay, so I have gone from having 2 Christmas trees and the banner and the wreaths outside and hundreds of dollars of Christmas gifts for everybody that I know to just a little 4-foot Christmas tree, a couple gifts for the dude and the daughter, mom, and that's it.
And it's fine if you say, wow, Harold would really love this pair of talking socks. It's just, it's his favorite president on the inscription. I'm just making things up here, obviously, but that's one thing. But I get the sense that there are so many people who are like, I must get so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Why?
The list just gets longer and longer.
Why?
Okay, so as I get older, Rob, I'm much more into the food and the meal and the people that I spend the time with versus I have to get everybody that I've ever met in my life something.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, we're on board with this.
100%
If you're decorating, now I will give you one exception.
Oh?
One exception and one exception only.
Yeah.
And that is if you have a military member in your family who was deployed over the holiday and they're about to come home off season and you want to celebrate Christmas with them. That's the only exception I'm going to allow.
Yeah. And don't forget, the actual reason for Christmas is Jesus. Can I just put that out there?
Yes.
Thank you.
You have put it out
Very
there.
good.
He is the reason for the season.
Thank you, yes.
And the season has not begun yet.
Yes, September is not Christmas season. Thanks.
I mean, if we're going to go there, you could say it's his season year round,
Absolutely.
right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to this Deion Sanders story. You watched the game, didn't you? Were you up till 2 in the morning?
Casey, it's cute that you think that I have cable that would allow me to be able to watch a game on ESPN. That's funny.
Okay, so what was that? Colorado and Colorado State, big interstate rivalry, and people were saying that Jay Norvell, his team was going to win, and then Coach Prime came back at the end of the game, major comeback, 2 OTs, and he won the game.
All right, so let's reset for people who are like, what in the world are these two cackling hens talking about? So Deion Sanders is one of the most famous football players of all time. He was also a tremendous baseball player, one of the few people in the history of sport to excel at both. He was on the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, won multiple Super Bowls. He was a very flamboyant coach. Prime Time was his nickname, or player, I'm sorry. Prime Time was his nickname, and he has now become the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. He was very successful at the school he coached at before. I believe it was a historically black college, and now he is the head coach at Colorado. And they have done very well. They were awful last year, and he is being as flamboyant as a coach as he was as a player. And they're in the top 20 now, and everybody's very excited about Deion Sanders. And he got into a little back and forth with the Colorado. By the way, Colorado State stinks. It's not like they're Alabama, but yes, they did win the game in double overtime, and the Coach Prime madness will continue for another week.
Okay, so the Colorado coach was saying...
Colorado State.
See, I mean, it's just so confusing.
It's very hard to keep track of.
So the Colorado State coach was making fun of Deion Sanders because he always wears these sunglasses.
Yes, he wears
right?
it's
sunglasses. Part of his getup.
The bling. He's got the gold chains.
Yep,
he dresses the same way he did when he was a player.
Okay, well, you know what Neon Deion did? He turned around and sold $1.2 million worth of those sunglasses, thanks to the ribbing from his rival.
Yeah. Old Deion is making a fortune being a college football coach, just like old Deion made a fortune being a player. And look, here is my thing with this, okay? Mm-hmm. And I get that people are always looking for the next bright, shiny object. And right now, Deion Sanders is the next bright, shiny object. Let's see how he does. Let's see if we're still talking about undefeated Colorado in, I don't know, December, then I will come on these airwaves and eat it. But right now, they've beat Nebraska, who's horrible. They beat Texas Christian, who, while they were in the championship game last year, certainly not the same team that they were, and they've beaten this Colorado State team. So let's just hold on. If they're running running past a bunch of top 10 teams, and come December they're still undefeated, then okay. But now this is a media manufactured hype machine, and I'm not buying any of it.
Okay, let me just tell you a couple things. When my parents lived in Plano, Texas, he was actually a player in Dallas, and they lived down the street from him, and he had this huge prime time etched into his driveway gate.
Wait, your parents lived down the street from Deion Sanders?
Yeah, well, they all lived in Plano. And so he had a gated driveway, right?
Yeah.
And the gate had prime time in it. And I always knew him as Neon Deion. Right. So he's like Deer Creek to me. He's always going to be Neon Deion. And why does every sports announcer insist on calling him Coach Prime?
Well, because...
Can we never call him Coach Sanders? It's like always Coach Prime.
Okay, so here's the deal, Casey. So I'm going to read you the next set of schedule for Colorado, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so September 23rd, they're at number 10, Oregon. So that's this week.
Yeah.
The week after... Number 5 USC Caleb Williams, who is the defending Heisman Trophy winner, goes to Colorado. If they make it out of the next 2 weeks undefeated, I will come on these radio airwaves and issue a public apology for not being on the Coach Prime hype train. But I'm telling you, Colorado's going to be 3-2 at the end of the next 2 weeks.
All right, well, there's a pair of sunglasses that maybe I'll buy you for Christmas. See what I did there? I brought a full circle.
Yeah. Well.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. We're going to catch you back here tomorrow. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax.
The stock market dropped by over.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates. Let's face it, investing can feel pretty scary and overwhelming these days, especially if you're retired or close to retirement, which is why you should consider investing in municipal bonds from Hennian & Walsh. Municipal bonds can provide a source of federally tax-free retirement income. Plus, an investment in municipal bonds is an investment in America. Municipal bonds help finance major civil projects across the country, like the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam, as well as local roads, bridges, and schools. Call 1-800-761-9761 right now for our informative free bond guide and learn how you can earn tax-free retirement income while investing in America's future. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for the free Hennian & Walsh bond guide. There's no cost and no obligation. 1-800-761-9761.
Hennian & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
After 24 years on the force, I've hung up my uniform. I've supported Mayor Hogsett in the past, but this year I'm voting for Jefferson Shreve. I've met Jefferson Shreve, I've spoken with him, and he understands that for this city to be safe, we need to retain veteran officers, hire new ones, and give them proper training. Jefferson Shreve understands what this city needs to be safe again. I'm retired IMPD officer Dan Green, and I support Jefferson Shreve.
My name is Crystal, and I moved here from a bigger city. I came here specifically to feel safer and to help grow my career, but it has not been that exactly. I really love fitness, and running outside has always been important to me. But in downtown Indy, it just does not feel safe. I've never voted before, but this time it's really important. I've met Jefferson Shreve and I really like him. He has a plan to make Indy safe. So this time around, I'm voting for Jefferson Shreve.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax relief